Good evening. Everyone can take their seats, please, and those that are standing, remain standing. I'd like to call the Tuesday, September 5th, 2023 regular City Council meeting to order at 6:32 p.m. I will do the Pledge of Allegiance tonight, so please, if you're sitting, please stand, face the flag, and repeat with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, roll call, please.
Mayor Harrington,
Here.
Vice Mayor Wu,
Here.
Councilmember Chan,
Here.
Councilmember Ding,
Here.
Councilmember Menchaca.
Here.
Thank you. Closed session report.
Certainly, Mr. Mayor, and I can see that everybody's here very excited to hear the closed session report. So the City Council met in closed session at a special meeting conducted just before this one to discuss anticipated litigation. I can reveal that the anticipated litigation concerned the BKK landfill and a letter received from the BKK working group. City Council unanimously directed staff to enter a tolling agreement with that group. Mr. Mayor, that concludes the report.
Thank you. We'll now have some announcements from our Chief City Clerk.
Tonight's meeting is live streamed on the city's online platforms. If you wish to address the City Council during tonight's meeting, we request that you please complete a speaker's card and hand it to the clerk. When speaking, please state your name for the record. If you wish to receive City Council agendas, please sign up on the city's website.
Thank you. We'll have the approval of agenda order. Are there any objections to the agenda as presented? All right, with no objection, we'll accept the order. Next item, please.
Presentation A, National Hispanic Heritage Month. Mayor Harrington will make the presentation and Councilmember Menchaca will receive the proclamation.
Thank you. So this is National Hispanic Heritage Month. So we have a proclamation from the City Council. Whereas Hispanic Heritage Month is an official celebration of American citizens whose ancestry can be traced back to Spain, Mexico, Central and South America, and the Caribbean. It's a recognition that started a week-long celebration in 1968, and 20 years later expanded to dedicate the entire month, recognizing generations of Hispanic Americans who have positively influenced and enriched our society. And whereas the objective of Hispanic Heritage Month is to create greater awareness of Hispanic contributions to American culture and to illustrate the diversity of the Hispanic community and to encourage greater curiosity within young people about the rich history and cultural heritage of Hispanics. And whereas Hispanic Heritage Month uplifts a cultural legacy that shares values rooted in rich traditions that harbor deep commitment to family and community, an enduring work ethic, and a perseverance to succeed and contribute to society. Now, therefore, the Mayor and the City Council proclaim September 15th through October 15th, 2023 as Hispanic Heritage Month in the city of San Gabriel. And we encourage the community to celebrate a collective progress shared with the Hispanic community, learn by seeing the strength that derives from our diversity, and honor the shared spirit of self-determination and dignity and respect for our cultural heritage. Dated September 5th, 2023. We have a proclamation.
I had a few words, Mayor.
Okay, sounds good.
Great. Well, thank you. First of all, I agree. It's an honor to proclaim September 15th to October 15th as Hispanic Heritage Month. As a proud San Gabriel Latina with Mexican roots, it gives me great pleasure that our City Council and the city continues to celebrate our Hispanic heritage. San Gabriel's rich history reminds us of what early Hispanic Americans contributed to the city and how they continue to influence and enrich our society. As we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, I wanted to share some of the wonderful events happening in our community. Our residents can take the opportunity to enjoy mariachi concerts at the Mission Playhouse, such as Canciones del Corazón. It's the 10th International Mariachi Women's Festival. It's going to be held on Saturday, September 23rd at 7:30 p.m. Mariachis Los Camperos, Tradición, Arte y Pasión, Un Día de los Muertos en México. Saturday, November 4th from 7:30 to 10 p.m. We will also be celebrating Dia de los Muertos on Thursday, November 2nd, at the Mission Playhouse from 6 to 8 p.m. An altar to remember our loved ones will be on display. The festivities will include traditional food items like champurrado, café de olla, chocolate caliente, pan dulce, mini pan de muerto, y tamales. So mark your calendar for that. We also celebrate Hispanic heritage during our Cinco de Mayo event. We bring out the best in artisan vendors, food, music, and dances from Latin America. But lastly, as the first Latina to be ever elected in this historic city, nothing gives me more honor than to inform everyone tonight that we will be introducing and swearing in our new police chief, who will be the first Hispanic police chief in the city of San Gabriel. So add that to your long list of accomplishments. So add that to your list of accomplishments, soon to be Chief Elizalde. And with that, I accept the proclamation for Hispanic Heritage Month. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Menchaca. Would you like to have a picture with the council? All right, let's do it. Next item, please.
Introduction of new Police Chief Edward Elizalde. City Manager Lazaretto will make the introduction. Chief City Clerk Clark will administer the oath of office, and Chief Elizalde's badge will be pinned by his wife, Ingrid.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. I'm very pleased to be able to introduce our new police chief to the council and the community, Chief Edward Elizalde. Chief, why don't you come on up to the podium if you don't mind? And Chief Elizalde, as Councilwoman Menchaca pointed out, is going to be our first Hispanic police chief. He was with the city of Alhambra for 28 years, and one of the interesting things about him is he started his career as a dispatcher and then worked his way all the way up eventually to assistant chief for the last couple of years. The things that drew me to Chief Elizalde are the fact that he lives close by in the San Gabriel Valley. He knows the community. He's very public safety oriented, but he's also a public servant, and his family has deep roots in the community and deep roots in public service. And Chief, I don't want to put too much pressure on you, but one of the things that I was researching before we brought you on board is we've only had 4 police chiefs since 1942. So in more than 80 years, we've had 4 chiefs. So you need to be here for 20 years in order to keep that going.
Well, he needs to make up for Chief Harris, so
Right.
30 years.
That's exactly right. So Chief, I am ecstatic to welcome you on board and wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much, sir.
I think, Sharon, if you wouldn't mind swearing our new chief in.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Edward Elizalde,
I, Edward Elizalde,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United
and
States
the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I enter into this obligation freely
that I enter into this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I'm about to enter.
about which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Chief, if you'd like to have your wife come up and pin your badge, and then if you'd like to say a few words to the council and the community, please feel free.
Thank you, Mayor Harrington, Vice Mayor Wu, Councilmember Chan, Councilmember Dean, Councilmember Menchaca, and City Manager Lazaretto, for granting me this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to serve as the San Gabriel Police Chief. I'm excited at the opportunity to lead the hard-working women and men of the San Gabriel Police Department, collaborating with city leaders, department heads to ensure our citizens, business owners, and visitors receive the highest level of public services available to them. To the community, I look forward to meeting you to learn and share ideas that we can, so that we can continue building the San Gabriel Police Department into a premier law enforcement agency benefiting all of our citizens. And to my family and friends, thank you for the continued support and the friendship which helped me achieve this milestone and lifelong dream. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Any council members like to say any words, or we're going to break for cake? I'll take. Oh, just a picture, you mean? We'll just get a picture with the chief and then the council, and then after that, we're going to take a short recess for cake. So that I don't have to come back up, I'll officially recess while we're taking pictures, and then we can proceed. All right, I'll call the meeting back to order at 7:01 PM. Clerk, next item, please.
Public comment. This is the time set aside for members of the public to address the city council on items of interest that are not on the agenda but are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the San Gabriel City Council. If you wish to address the council, please fill out a speaker's card and hand it to the clerk. Our first comment is a written comment from Joe Maury, resident. I am for the proceedings of permanent pickleball court. And then our first speaker in person is Christina Salazar.
Thank you. My name is Christina Salazar. I'm 62 years old. I'm a resident of San Gabriel. I am Gabrielino Tongva. My family has lived here for generations, and I'm against the pickleball court. The reason why I'm against it is because that area was secured by Prop A money set aside for cultural for the Gabrielino Tongva. If you go over there, you have a circle there, you have markers there for the tribe. The picnic areas are shaped like the huts. For us as a tribe, it is very special, and we are not very happy that you're going to expand our passive green space to include another pickleball court in that area. So I just want to say I'm here. I'm going to be watching what's going on, and that is it. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Mary Garcia.
Good evening, I'm Mary Garcia, Mayor, City Council members, Mark, City Clerk. I'm here to follow up. I came up on July 18th, and I asked about cleaning the freeways on Del Mar and San Gabriel. Well, much to my surprise, I went by one day, and there was like 20 workers cleaning. But they're not done. They came for 2 days, and they're not back. The northeast section before you go under the freeway, going south on San Gabriel, still has weeds this high. And I want to know, are they going to take care of the part that runs along the side where the motel is? That's not even touched. So, but Del Mar looks beautiful. I'm happy to say my friends even noticed it that come to visit me. And I said, well, I did go to City Council and ask, and I'm glad, and I wanted to thank you. But I would like to have follow-up to finish it. So if you could follow up on that, Mark? And I did send you an email. Did you receive it? No? All right, I did send you an email that day to thank you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Jonathan Vivante.
Good evening, Mayor Harrington, Vice Mayor, City Council members, City Manager, and staff. My name is Jonathan Vivanti, and I reside at 312 San Marcos Street, San Gabriel. Regarding the pickleball courts project at Smith Park, I am encouraged to learn that new information has emerged following the August 15th City Council meeting for the council to consider, and that the pickleball court project has been placed on hold, and the item will be discussed at the October 17th City Council meeting. I would like to clarify that I am by no means anti-pickleball and appreciate that the city has accommodated the playing of the game already at Smith Park. A lot of people are very passionate about the game. However, I do not support building additional courts for pickleball at Smith Park. As it is, the existing court is seldom fully utilized on any given day. I can attest to that because I walk through the park on many days at different times. You can ask the residents who live in the surrounding neighborhood the same question. By fully utilized, I mean 4 games being played simultaneously, which the single court facility can accommodate and is striped for. I believe that building a new court at Smith Park is non-essential and unwarranted if you ask a non-pickleball park user. As you are aware, the existing court already has associated issues with it that local neighbors have expressed related to noise and impacts to local traffic and street parking. As we all know, Smith Park is not a very large park. For its size, though, it offers an impressive array of activities, both active and passive, and perhaps most importantly, honors the Gabrielino people and their culture, for which the city recognized and dedicated in the award-winning park renovation project completed in 2000. We do not need another pickleball facility at Smith Park, as this would disrupt the delicate balance that the park currently offers. We also do not want to lose an existing facility at the park to accommodate more pickleball at the park. Many of us recall the movie Field of Dreams and the famous line, "Build it and they will come." But that's exactly what we don't need here, to exacerbate current issues and create new problems. If building a new pickleball court is necessary for San Gabriel, please consider alternative locations not at Smith Park, understanding that a decision may or may not be popular for others receiving the new facility. I hope that strong consideration can also be given for indoor facilities at an existing vacant building in the city, as that might offer a win-win situation and can also be a boost for local business in the area. Lastly, I would like to see investment in upgrades and maintenance of existing facilities that the park already offers. I appreciate and thank you for the opportunity to express my thoughts this evening.
Thank you.
Dennis Sam.
Good evening, members of the City Council and community members. My name is Dennis Sam, and I am a San Gabriel resident for over 37 plus years. I'd like to acknowledge a recent milestone, a significant step taken towards permanent pickleball courts at Smith Park. While we celebrate this achievement, we also recognize the valid concerns raised by our fellow residents who have voiced their worries about the potential impact on green spaces and noise levels during pickleball play. It's vital that we address these concerns while working towards a solution that accommodates our large pickleball community and reduces wait times. The recent City Council vote with a majority of 3-1 in favor of permanent pickleball courts signifies a crucial turning point in our pursuit of dedicated space for this popular sport. It reflects a recognition of pickleball's growing popularity and the desire to provide a reliable and accessible facility for our community. However, it is essential to acknowledge the concerns expressed by some residents. The potential loss of green space and the concerns about noise levels during pickleball matches are valid points that deserve attention. We must approach this situation with sensitivity and a willingness to find common ground. We believe that we can reach this goal by keeping the existing tennis courts footprint while still providing the permanent pickleball courts and noise suppression barriers for the adjacent neighbors. We understand the importance of green spaces in our city, and we respect the tranquility of our park that our parks provide. At the same time, we must recognize that pickleball as a sport that unites generations and fosters connections is an integral part of our community's identity. Balancing these interests is a challenge, but it's one that we are committed to overcoming. The overwhelming support for permanent pickleball courts highlights the pressing need to accommodate our growing number of players and reduce wait times. it's clear, it's a clear indication that the demand of pickleball facilities at Smith Park is undeniable. We believe that with open communications, creative problem-solving, and a shared commitment to our community's well-being, we can navigate this challenge and create a future where Smith Park remains a place of beauty, tranquility, and inclusive recreation. Thank you for your attention and for your dedication to the betterment of St. Gabriel.
Sonia Lynn.
My name is Sonia Lynn. Good evening, Mayor Harrington, Vice Mayor Wu, Councilwoman Menchaca, Councilman Chan and Ding, City Manager Lazaretto, and city staff. Pickleball players are very disappointed that the pickleball courts project approved in the August meeting has been placed on hold. We understand and we know you will make the right decision. Let's focus on the original intent of the project, to provide permanent pickleball courts to accommodate the large number of players. We're over 115 city residents who come to play pickleball at Smith Park. You got the list. And they play 3 to 5 times a week for limited times on temporary courts. After many hours of hard work and diligent deliberation, for which we thank you, you voted. With your vote, you told us that you recognized our community's need for more and for permanent pickleball courts. And if the project is on hold, let's find another solution quickly, since the need has not been put on hold. It's still here and it's growing. Every day, new players come to Smith. I'm there and I meet them. You know that anyone who wants to play is welcome. Mayor, vice mayor, council members, city manager, and staff, come and join us. Meet our players as we exercise for our health, physical and mental well-being. We do not discriminate. Everyone can join. That's why, on average, our pickleball community reflects the census data for the city of San Gabriel. We are diverse. I am diverse. I'm Jamaican. Yeah, man. And we celebrate the diversity in our pickleball community. Everyone in this room is encouraged to experience fun and enjoy life. But for us to do so, we need the permanent pickleball courts. We are city residents. We are strong. We want to enjoy a healthy life. We have the right to play our sport, pickleball. We need permanent pickleball courts in the city of San Gabriel. Thank you for your attention.
Isabel Sandoval.
Good evening. My name is Isabel Sandoval. I have been a resident for over 30-some years. I live across the street from Smith Park. I'm here on behalf of my neighbors on West Broadway, many of them who are ill or sick, old, and could not come in. I do believe we are very disappointed on the lack of information that you now have, and you still voted against the residents. We have to live with all of this 24/7. It's interesting how the previous speaker said there are over 100. We live across the street. All of us are watching the pickleball courts. We get together and write the numbers and the dates and the times, which my daughter has. We are not against pickleball. We will put up with it, that's fine. But we do not want another one. That's double the noise. And I quite honestly don't see how it will be utilized. It will not. We should focus, yes, I'm sure it's fun, it's good for your health. We have basketball players, we have handball court people, we have tennis players. Why do we have to focus on pickleball? Why do they have to have 2 courts, complete courts? I believe that would not do justice to our park, and I would appreciate, I thank you for putting it on hold, but I hope you do the right thing. We do have information that I've given to the residents about the Tongva and Gabrielino Indians, so we know what information you now have in your hands, and we just hope that you do the right thing. Thank you.
Jacqueline Candelaria.
Hello, nice to see everyone again. I am very disappointed to know that you guys passed what we specifically asked you not to pass. We don't really ask for a lot, but we will be, that was my mother. I've lived there across the street from Smith Park my entire life. I do understand that there will always be noise. It's a park. It's fine. We live with that. There is no demand for additional pickleball courts. I have proof. I'm a night nurse. I don't know if you remember that. I'm there during the day. Just peek out my window and do a quick count to see how many people are there actually playing. Mostly in the morning. There are some people, I would say, 9 to 10, or maybe 7, 8, 9 to 10. And from then on, maybe until 5:30, 6, maybe 7 to 8 is when people are there. So most of the time, people are not there. And when I say people are not there, it is empty. Tennis players have been there when pickleball players are not there, so it's not, heat is not really a concern or a factor that plays out in that. We had beautiful weather this last week, and my logging, if you'd like to see it, I don't really feel like anyone really analyzed it or really addressed my logging, my data from the previous meeting, to be honest. I made copies for everyone so everyone can kind of follow along and look at it while I was speaking. But I'm here to give you facts. Someone can say they're there all the time. I literally am there all the time. I do want to say, someone said last time I wanted to address this, that specific part of the park that you guys are willing to lose is not used by green space. It definitely is. If anyone takes a walk, I saw just an elderly man lounging there the other day. The rest of the green space is very much utilized. I saw kids put up a volleyball court, put up their little lines over the grass. A father and a son were actually playing football. I have pictures to prove it. A soccer court was put up in that green space in the very back towards those apartments. So the green space really is utilized, and you would really be taking away from families. This is a community park. It should be utilized as a community park. You're serving one very, very specific population. Pickleball players, the end. Not even really the tennis players at that point. I mean, there's not even enough demand for tennis players to make a squawk about anything. Noise is very bad as it is. I really am unable to sleep in those mornings right when I get back from work. I mean, that is what it is. I can't imagine it getting worse. But I am very disappointed to know that you decided to go with people that didn't really vote you in office. We always vote. We've always been active voters. Homeowners on my street on Broadway and Wedgwood, we voted you guys in to, represent us, not outside residents from different cities that you're accommodating by adding these pickleball courts. And I think that space should be utilized for various sports, and people will continue to utilize it if you don't take it away. And I really do have to add on to the Native Americans. I mean, if you have an agreement with them, you can't really break that agreement. If that's what that land was designated for, that would be an awful shame if it wasn't upheld. Thank you for hearing me out, and I do appreciate you putting it on pause, but I really encourage you to listen to actual residents. And if you do walk on Wedgwood or walk around the city, you can hear the pickleball courts, even on the south side of the street, or the north side of Wedgwood and Live Oak. You can definitely hear it. Thank you.
I have no more speaker cards.
One more. We'll get your information, Andrew.
Good evening, City Council. So what I'd like to speak to is, I would just like to highlight our captain, Ricky Nakamura, who filled in as the interim chief for the last 8 months. And I know there's a lot of things that he did in the city. I've talked to him about it, realigned. We now have a sergeant with the community engagement team. He realigned the recruitment. We swore in four new officers. We have a new officer currently, a recruit in the academy. I know we got some new vehicles. Got the new firearms. He did a lot of stuff while he was here. I just want to highlight his leadership. We graduated another class of the community academy. They initiated the new youth leadership academy, which I'm really proud of that they did that, because I think that's going to really help kind of prevent crime starting from the youth. And one of the other things was, I can't remember what the other one was. I had something, I had it written down, but I forgot to bring my notes today. But yeah, I'm really proud of his leadership. He really was outstanding during the 8 months that we did not have a chief. And I just want to thank him personally. And thank you very much.
All right, so we have no more request cards. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address council? Seeing none, I'll close public comment. Next item, please.
Consent calendar. All items listed under the consent calendar are considered routine, and recommendations will be approved in one motion unless a member of the city council or public requests separate discussion. We have not received a request from the public to pull an item.
Thank you. Are there any council members who'd like to pull an item? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve the full consent agenda.
All right, we have a motion by Councilmember Menchaca, a second by Councilmember Ding. Let's go to the board, please.
Motion passes by a vote of 5-0.
Next item, please.
We have no public hearing or continued business this evening. Our next item is new business item A, General Fund Preliminary Financial Results for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023. Finance Director Kahola Kula will make the presentation.
Thanks, Marilyn. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of City Council. Will Kahola-Kula, Finance Director for the City of San Gabriel. I'm happy to present the preliminary general fund financial results for fiscal year that ended on June 30th, 2023. Staff has done its best to forecast the final numbers, but these numbers are still unaudited. The audit will be complete by December 31st of this year, where audited financial statements will be published and will be presented to the City Council at that time. So the highlights for the preliminary financial results for fiscal year 22-23. Fiscal year 22-23 financially has been a year of contrast. Total fund balance decreased by $554,000. However, unassigned fund balance increased by $5.3 million. Revenue is lower by $5.1 million. However, ongoing revenues are higher by $2.7 million. Expenditures are higher by $5.8 million. However, $5.7 million was expended to pay off the Citizens Business Bank loan. And then finally, the general fund reserve percentage is projected to increase from 21.8% to 29.7%. All good news. So general fund net change in fund balance. Net change in fund balance is money coming in minus money coming out, and the difference is our net change in fund balance. And for 22-23, the net change in fund balance was, as mentioned earlier, the decrease by $554,000. You can see over the last 5 years that our fund balance has consistently been increasing. Starting in 18-19, we increased fund balance by $756,000. Moving on to 21-22, with the help of some of the ARPA revenue, we increased fund balance by $10.3 million, and then we had the decrease of fund balance in 22-23 by $554,000. So, but the one thing we want to explain is what is the composition of that change in fund balance. So on this slide, we present the composition of the change in fund balance. And so we have the total decrease in fund balance of $554,000, and we have a decrease of restricted fund balance of $5.8 million. This was due to paying off the Citizens Bank loan. Therefore, we didn't need to have a restricted fund balance to collateralize the loan. So that restriction on the fund balance went away, and due to positive operating results for the general fund, our unassigned fund balance, which is the amount we have available for reserves, increased by $5.3 million. Moving on to revenues. So this slide presents our general fund revenues, fiscal year 2020 through 21, and then all the way through our 22-23 projected. We compare our 22-23 projected results versus our 21-22 actual results. And as you can see, overall revenue is lower by $5.1 million, and this is due to one-time revenue received in the prior year, which was not received in the current year. And this includes $6 million in ARPA federal money that we received. This resulted in the decrease in intergovernmental revenue of nearly $6 million. Also in the prior year, we received $750,000 in exchange Prop A money. And this resulted in a decrease in other revenue by $873,000. And then we had a change in accounting in the way that we account for pass-through plant check payments. So they're no longer accounted for in the general fund. There's no net effect on the general fund because it's a decrease in revenue and a decrease in expenditure. They were just pass-through money, so it was kind of skewing our general fund. And this is the result of the decrease, the majority of the result of the decrease in charges for services of $1.28 million. However, ongoing revenues were higher by $2.7 million. The major driver of the increase in ongoing revenue was related to our taxes had an increase of $2.8 million. This was led by our utility user tax, our taxes on hotel visitor stays, our sales taxes, our local tax, as well as Measure SG, and our property taxes. Moving on to general fund expenditures, similar table where we present the 2020-21 actuals through the 22-23 projected results, and then we compare the 22-23 projected results to the 21-22 actuals. And as you can see, overall, we had a increase in expenditures of $5.8 million, and this is due to paying off the Citizens Business Bank loan. We decided to do an early payoff. After contemplating the loan, it wouldn't have any impact on our reserves. It would save us on interest cost. And so there was an extra $5 million in due to the early payoff of the Citizens Business Bank loan. And this is reflected in the Public Works, the large increase in the Public Works Department. Contractual services is lower by $1 million, and this is due to the change in accounting that we discussed earlier, the pass-through plan check payment. And this is reflected in the decrease in the Community Development Department of $787,000. In finance, During fiscal year 22-23, finance was moved out of the general fund and moved to its own internal service fund. And therefore, we had a decrease in finance of $299,000. And then we had some other expenditure highlights for fiscal year 22-23. Our full-time salaries were higher by $852,000 as the city reached employment agreements with all employee groups where there were salary and benefit increases. This is reflected in almost all the departments. And our CalPERS cost was higher by $390,000, which is reflected in all of the departments. And then finally, we spent $275,000 in general fund money to repave the Mission Playhouse parking lot. So moving on to the
Will, I'm sorry to interrupt. Mayor, do you mind if I ask one clarifying question? I think it's important for the council and the community to know that this slide projects what our expenditures were this year as compared to last year. But what it doesn't show is what our budget was. So all of those items on the right that we are over the spending for last year, I think it's important for you all to know that we're, except for the public works loan payoff, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Will, but every one of those expenditure categories is less than what the budgeted amount is. And so we're making sure that we're continuing to run the city under the amounts that are approved by the council every year. So if you were just looking at this slide, you might think we were over budget in all of those categories. But in actuality, again, with the exception of the public works loan, which is still under budget because we adjusted the budget for that year. But for spending from one year to the next, we stay within our budget and we stay within what the council and the community are told throughout the year. So please correct me if I'm wrong on that, Will, but I believe that's what that slide is saying.
Yes, that's correct. Okay, so moving on to our general fund ending fund balance, where we think we're going to end the year. So this table presents the ending fund balance from fiscal year 2018 through fiscal year 22-23 projected. As you can see in the table, the 22-23 projected, we had a net change in fund balance where we decreased by $554,000. We had a beginning fund balance that we carried over from the prior year of $15.9 million with a projected ending fund balance of $15.38 million. And then once again, we'll look at the composition of our general fund balance. So as we saw, the net change in fund balance, our restricted, is zero. It went from 5.8 million to zero since we no longer need any funds to collateralize the loan since we paid it off. And then our unassigned increased from 10 million to 15.381 million, and this is the amount available for reserves. So ultimately, this increased our reserve percentage, our unassigned fund balance divided by our general fund expenditures, an increase from 21.8% to 29.7%. So summary and next steps. So just kind of reiterating the general fund highlights. We have an unassigned fund balance increase in the general fund by 5.3 million. This is the 5th year in a row our unassigned fund balance has increased. And fund balance reserve percentage has increased to 29.7% from 21.8%. And just a little bit of forward thinking, what are the next steps to ensure the financial future of San Gabriel? We're going to complete the audit and publish the audited financial statements. And then, we've set a minimum reserve goal of 17%, which is the minimum that's recommended by Government Finance Officers Association. It's 2 months of expenditures. So now that we're up to 29.7, we can start looking at some ideal reserve levels. And once we hit those ideal reserve levels, then we can start funding a capital replacement fund for building improvements, for roof replacements, for AC units, for outdated ERP, general plan updates, and then as well as begin funding our OPEB funds to begin funding our retiree healthcare liability and to ensure the financial future of the city of San Gabriel. That concludes my presentation. I could take any questions or comments you may have.
Thank you, Will. Do we have any questions or comments from council? Nothing to clarify, so we'll go for public comment.
I have no speaker cards.
We have one in the crowd. Come on down.
The OPED fund, I know on the last auditor's report from the state said that we were like way behind. Are we getting caught up on that by any means, or are we still behind on that?
I think that's a Will question.
Yeah, in the 23-24 budget, the city council did approve to fund the OPEB trust that we have. So we've created an OPEB trust to begin funding the OPEB liability, and the council approved $250,000 in the 23-24 budget to deposit into our OPEB trust
That's it? That's all that they're gonna put in there?
for
And
23-24.
I'll also point out, Will, just to remind the public and the council that we have also changed that benefit, that we have sunsetted the retiree health benefit for future employees. So that over time will help that benefit go down. And as Will stated, we put money in this current year's budget. And once we start to build up those reserves, we can put more and more into the future. So we're not done pre-funding that, but that's what we were able to do with our current fiscal situation in years past.
And then now the new employees will go to like Medicare, or what will happen there?
You're right. So there's a minimum amount that we will have to pay based on state law for those new employees. And when they get to Medicare age, they'll be covered by Medicare as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions from public? Seeing none, I'll close public comment. Now council discussion. Any discussion items? Councilmember Menchaca.
Thank you. First of all, I wanted to let you know, Will, that I appreciate the comps and the font size, of course, and the over and under. I think it's much more helpful to show actuals from prior years versus budgeted, because at that point, the budget doesn't mean anything. Only it's relevant for the current year. So thank you for doing that. I think it makes it a lot easier. One of the things I wanted to highlight, and you did kind of highlight it, was our reserve. And so not only are we at 29.7, but our policy or the industry standard is 17%. So we are very, very healthy, fiscally responsible, and that's a great progress that we've made. And you did kind of show it in one of the slides that over the years. So 29.7 is very exciting, so thank you for that. Also, one thing I wanted to kind of have you think about was when you look at public works, if you look at the number, it shows that we're over by $5 million. And that's a pretty significant number. And even though you keep explaining it, I really believe that that line item does a disservice to our public works, because they work so hard doing everything they can to make it cost efficient. It just looks like they've gone way over budget, and really what we're looking at is, paying off of the loan, and starts haunting us year after year after year. As you can tell, if you should continue to show 3 years, we're going to see that decline. So I would propose that be taken out and put separately somewhere else. I know it's relating to public works, but in no way is it the ongoing operations of public works. As a matter of fact, it should go into finance, because that's who made the deal. But I would ask that maybe that would be separated, so it doesn't keep popping up every year in that $5 million. What does it mean? I can see how on page 8, where you have the intergovernmental and it's the ARPA funds, that makes sense. There's really nothing else there. But public works, it just stands out, department by department. So I would ask that be separated. Aside from that, no, it's great work, and excited to see the final audit. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Council comment? Nothing from Vice Mayor Wu?
Just a couple of minor comments. Well, thank you. It's very presentation was very well done, and I'm very proud of your team that that you're making the strides in our financial situation, and it all looks very good, and look forward to continuing to strengthen our financial situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Ding.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, thank you. Your financial department do the very good presentation. And one thing I really happy we pay off the restricted fund. Okay, but for the future, I think hopefully the state audit can see. Looks like our city is more healthy because the previous audit they mentioned that the restricted fund. Okay, and then result it looks like this year maybe have the short 555, but actually it's a unrestricted unassigned fund will be balance will be going up. So that's why. So I think that's why I make your reserve fund from 21% to the 29%, right? It's pretty good. So like it's 17%. That's I think the reserve fund is minimal we have to do. So if we're going up, it's a pretty good for the healthy. So we have city can have the long term to operation, and because we also have a lot of things needed to do too. So for our public safety, and plus I like to for the future. Hopefully we have enough fund for our police and the fire department, because their facility it's too old. So I really consider the staff working on this kind of environment, so should be some improvement to help them have a good environment and help our city public safety. It's encourage them, you know. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Ding. I would just like to also say, Will, I believe the report is well presented, easy to understand, which we appreciate, and for the most part, a very healthy report for the city going forward. I do think the main thing to look at is our reserve balance. I mean, I think that's the healthiest way to see how a city is doing. We can get into a lot of details, and I do appreciate the comments regarding our other obligations like OPEB. I think that's, as well as the infrastructure and the accounts for ongoing maintenance. I think those are things we really need to address, so that in the future we already have the money. It's there, it's ready to go when we have maintenance to do, or hopefully no emergencies, but we have the cash on hand to be able to take care of that. I think that's a very good and wise plan. So I just appreciate the work that went into this for you and your staff, and just thank you. I have no other questions. This is just a file for the report, so there's no vote. So just thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Funding for the San Gabriel Chamber of Commerce in the amount of $23,000. Economic Development Manager Caroline Velarde will make the presentation.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. Before you this evening is a discussion on funding the San Gabriel Valley Chamber of Commerce in the amount of $23,000. By way of background, the city has had a long-standing partnership with the Chamber in supporting our San Gabriel business community. We have even partnered with them on city events such as Dumpling and Beer and Surf's Up. In the past, the city has monetarily supported the Chamber prior to 2020, and in previous years, a membership agreement had been proposed but was not adopted by either party. Recently, the Chamber had requested the city join the organization with a Presidential Circle membership for $23,000. This request was part of a larger discussion on the city's new budget, and with that, Council asked staff to bring the topic of funding the Chamber back to further discuss, which is where we are this evening. In the staff report, there are financial reports provided by the chamber per the council's request. Staff also included analysis of nearby cities and their contract amounts with their respective chambers. So there are several options for the city council to consider regarding this matter. One, the city purchased the Presidential Circle membership for $23,000, and that both parties enter into an agreement, which could be considered at a future council meeting. Two, the city purchased the membership without an agreement. Three, the city could proceed with the existing relationship, which currently does not include any financial support. And finally, of course, the council may consider other options as a result of the discussion this evening. That concludes my report. We do have chamber board members Gary Watt and Gilda Moshier here this evening to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any council factual questions to clarify the report? All right, seeing none, we'll go to public comment.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We do have several comments were put in through the website. The first is from George Valdez and reads as follows. We find ourselves today revisiting an issue that was addressed in September of 2020. At that time, the council voted down a request by the Chamber of Commerce for a large amount of money. As I recall, some of the reasons for the denial were refusal by the chamber to sign a contract, no accountability for the monies spent, and services to be rendered were for a very small group of citizens. The difference from then and now is that today, the established Chamber Board of Directors was dissolved through resignation of the 3 officers, and a required financial audit of the chamber finances has inexplicably been shelved. I urge the council to use our resources wisely, and that means vote no to the motion to fund the San Gabriel Chamber of Commerce until the executive director is replaced by someone with integrity and goodwill. The next comment is from Karina Rivera, resident, and reads as follows. Mayor and council members, as a longtime business owner in the city of San Gabriel, I have been a member of the San Gabriel Chamber of Commerce. Until recently, I was an active member and served as vice president of the executive board. I resigned as vice president on the executive board and relinquished my membership because I was disappointed in the organization. Not only is this chamber dishonest, but it is also not business friendly as it claims to be. The chamber is only friendly and helpful if you are in good standing with the executive director. Sadly, this is something well known in the San Gabriel community. Once I commented that we needed to try to include and cater to more Asian businesses. I was called a racist by Gilda Moshier, a chamber board member. How does that make me a racist? San Gabriel is 75 to 80% Asian, and there are many Asian businesses. The chamber should be reaching out to them, and we should have more Asian business like Hawaiian Supermarket and San Gabriel Superstore, businesses that have been in the city of San Gabriel for many years. Why is the chamber not catering to them? The chamber has many members that are not from the city of San Gabriel. When it was brought to the attention of the executive board that the chamber had a deficit, we tried to reorganize and make it a viable organization, but we were blocked at every turn. When then President Joanna Jimenez, Alexis Salamanca, immediate past president, and I, vice president, asked to see the membership records so we would know how many paid members were on the books, we were denied access, which is controlled by Julie Costanzo, who is not a member of the chamber, nor does she own a business in San Gabriel. Why is a non-member in control of membership billing and records, and the president and vice president are not allowed to see them? When we asked for an audit, the board of directors refused to have a mandatory audit done and just completely ignored all bylaws. It was at this point Joanna, Alexis, and I realized that our positions did not carry any authority, and we were continuously sidelined by the board of directors. We were disrespected, lied to, insulted, and defamed by the executive director and Gilda Moshier, a fellow board member. The San Gabriel Chamber should be self-supporting and not rely on loans, grants, or city money to fund their daily operations. Before you decide to give out a considerable sum of money tonight, I urge you to investigate the facts. On a final note, in my opinion, Mayor John Harrington should recuse himself from voting tonight. His adult daughters who live in his household have done work or still do work for the Chamber of Commerce and have been paid with chamber funds. Is his vote or opinion not a conflict of interest, or at the very least biased? This comment is from Sean McMorris, resident, and reads as follows. Dear Mayor and City Council, I am writing to request that the City Council not approve funding for the San Gabriel Chamber of Commerce. For one, I believe the money can and should be spent on more pressing needs like rental assistance, small business grants or loans, or a food pantry. But I also believe that gifting the chamber a large amount of money like this without any contractual services to the city or transparency of funds is wrong. This is bad policy, fiscally irresponsible, and gives the appearance of bias and cronyism which have no place in local government. Recent reporting and public records show that the SG Chamber is insolvent and appears to have been mismanaged for quite some time. Furthermore, the Chamber is unwilling to undergo a proper audit of its financials, which is troubling. The record shows that the Chamber did not want to receive public funds under any contractual obligations with the city if it required transparency and the possibility of an audit, which is simply standard best practice for government contracts. Now the Chamber has invented a new membership for City Hall that is many times more than its regular membership for anyone else. This new membership appears simply to be a workaround to signing a contract with the city that would obligate the Chamber to use public funds transparently and responsibly. I don't think the state auditor would view a $23,000 membership to the SG Chamber as a responsible or appropriate use of public funds. For these reasons, I respectfully request that the City Council not approve this agenda item. Furthermore, I request that the city use these funds on much more pressing needs in the city. Our first speaker in person is Gilda Moshier.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor Harrington, Vice Mayor Wu, Council Members Chan, Ding, and Menchaca, City Manager Lazarato, and City staff. My name is Gilda Moshier. I'm here as a representative of the Board of Directors of the San Gabriel Chamber of Commerce. I'm also representing myself as a business owner. I'm a life insurance broker in support of the membership, proposed membership. I've been a member of the San Gabriel Chamber of Commerce since 2010. This chamber has unique characteristics that are rooted in the tradition of not pushing membership rather than welcoming a solo business owner like myself when I was ready to join and make that financial decision. I was a visitor to the chamber for a whole year prior to joining, never being pushed to join. That is unique to the San Gabriel Chamber. No other chamber operates that way. Upon joining, I took a couple of years before I decided to become an ambassador of the organization. And in the last year, decided to join the board of directors. I have gained business through the connections I've made, and I believe that our executive director, Sandy Roscoe, and her ability to sit with me early on to find out what my business was. Back then, I had 3 businesses, and to help me, guide me through that process and understand who I am, what my ambitions are, to get to know my family, my husband, my kids. I believe that is unique to this chamber and the success of the business community. I was not just a number. I was not just a member. She got to know me, and that's how she built that relationship with every single chamber member. Other chamber members will attest to that. As we mentioned in the letter to the City Council, I believe that's public record, supporting the San Gabriel Chamber of Commerce directly impacts city businesses and creates revenue for our city. Although many chambers closed their doors during the pandemic, we did not. That was important to our board to keep the doors open. The San Gabriel Chamber continued to be a support to our city and the City Council with networking events, ribbon cuttings, educational seminars, and resources for local businesses. Blossom Market Hall was helped to open by great part with the work of our chamber and our executive director, Sandy Roscoe. We are a business-friendly city. Our chamber's diligence and efforts, working hand in hand with our city council members, are needed today more than ever. We believe that this presidential membership with the city is a key move to solidify the partnership of our chamber and the city to bring resources and aid to our business community. Our board has already begun their outreach initiative. We are reaching business owners by going door to door. That's right, in the heat, door to door, to invite them to learn about our chamber, our resources, and our membership. We thank you for your consideration of this presidential membership. Thank you.
The next speaker is Gary Watt.
Sorry. Hello, Honorable Mayor Harrington, Vice Mayor Wu, Councilmember Menchaca, Councilmember Ding, Councilmember Chan, City Manager Lazaretto, and city staff. My name is Gary Watt, and I'm representing the San Gabriel Chamber of Commerce as a board member. However, I'm also a business owner and a lifelong resident in San Gabriel. My roots run deep in the city. I grew up here attending San Gabriel Christian School from 1st to 7th grade and served as a Rotarian in the San Gabriel Rotary for over 15 years before its closure. Today I stand before you to emphasize the critical importance of the city's support for the San Gabriel Chamber of Commerce. A decade ago, when I embarked on my entrepreneurial journey, I vividly recalled the challenges of navigating a local business in the landscape and establishing meaningful connections in the city. The San Gabriel Chamber of Commerce emerged as my first gateway, not only to the businesses, but the vast network of friendships that I made here. It was during my grand opening event hosted by the San Gabriel Chamber of Commerce that I had my first initial encounter with the city council, including the mayor at that time. This experience not only made me feel special, but also forged invaluable connections as well. These connections played a vital role and a pivotal role in my growth in my business. Moreover, they exemplified how the chamber introduced me to council members and citizens to one another, fostering a strong sense of community. Today, I humbly request the city's continuous support for the San Gabriel Chamber of Commerce by fulfilling its commitment to become the first presidential member. This commitment is especially vital as many local businesses are on the path to recovery and success post-pandemic. In conclusion, by reinforcing the San Gabriel Chamber of Commerce, the city can catalyze economic growth, strengthen community bonds, and provide invaluable resources and interconnecting San Gabriel for current and future generations. Thank you for your attention. And I also want to mention that, John Mayor, Vice Mayor Wu, Tony Ding, Eric Chan, I remember when you guys started running for office, and one of the first places you went was the San Gabriel Chamber of Commerce to connect with the business community, connect with people like me, to show us your involvement with the community. And I think the Chamber of Commerce is one of those places that allows the community to come together as businesses, as citizens, as people that support the community. And you guys have done great things for the community and for the Chamber of Commerce as well. So I thank you for that. And I want to continue to support our city and our community as well. Thank you very much.
Mayor and council members, I'm Cheryl Cabot. I'm a longtime resident of San Gabriel, a community services commissioner, and a contributing writer for ColoradoBoulevard.net. It is in this last capacity that I have been writing about the San Gabriel Chamber of Commerce. I made a public records request to the city regarding any documentation from or about the chamber. I received emails and minutes of meetings. It is within those minutes that the chamber's lack of good faith to the city is exposed. This also shows that what I wrote and what I'm about to say is true and documented. The chamber is poorly managed with a deficit of $78,000. They are paying the executive director $9,500 a month. They're asking the city for an outright gift of $23,000. And what does the city get in return? A so-called presidential membership, with nothing more than any other member gets. Stanley Soto, then secretary, said in the June meeting, since this is the first go-round with a presidential membership, literally, I think you have to understand that this is the first time we've done this. It has not existed in the past. This arose out of contract negotiations that failed. In other words, the chamber just made it up to convince the city that they should hand over $23,000. No questions asked, and pretended it's a special membership. It is not. I am also wondering why the city is even in contract negotiations with the chamber. They should not be considered in the same context as our police and firefighters. In that same June meeting, Shelley Chia, then treasurer, was asked about membership. We have 158 paid memberships. In the March meeting, she stated that the chamber should be at 300 to 400 members to remain viable. Also in June, Chia said, in order to get an accurate account, I need to conduct an analysis of the aging report summarizing not only total members, but how many the business owners in the city of San Gabriel. We will need this information when we sit down with the city council. It will make us look good. The San Gabriel Chamber of Commerce is coming to the city for a handout because it is a poorly run organization. The chamber is an embarrassment to the city and should not receive any city money. The chamber will try to convince you that the city will get a huge benefit from the inflated membership, when in reality it's just a money grab from a failing organization, with the city getting nothing in return. It is all smoke and mirrors, as in the statement, we will need this information when we sit down with the city council. It will make us look good. You could call this attempt to get money from the city a shell game, moving the different parts around so nobody really knows what is going on. Or as an Iowa farm gal, I like to use the phrase, trying to make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. The chamber is trying to dress up this presidential membership as a silk purse, but in the end, it's still a sow's ear.
Mr. Mayor, I have no more speaker cards.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience who'd like to address council? All right, seeing none, I'll close public comment on the item. Are there any council members that have discussion?
Well, I wanted to ask the first question. There was a comment about a conflict of interest. How do you respond to that?
There's no conflict.
So your daughters did not receive any payment from the chamber?
There's no conflict. They did. There's no conflict. I didn't receive and my wife didn't receive.
But you're in the same household.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, well, at least you,
It's not a conflict.
I look at it as a conflict, but at least you do confirm that your daughters did get payments from them.
Correct.
Okay.
We can talk to the city attorney. That's not a conflict. They're both
ask
adults
the
and
city
filed their
attorney.
own taxes. They're not my dependents.
So they're not your dependents?
Nope. They have their own
Children that happen to be
taxes.
living at the house?
Filed themselves. They're 23 and 21, and they file their own taxes.
So the conflict of interest rules normally extend to the member and their spouse?
Thank you.
No other questions?
Okay. Should I start? Yes, so.
I think you did.
Okay, so first of all, I wanted to say that typically I'm very impressed with the agenda, but this time I'm not. And one of the reasons is because the minutes that were provided to the council were not included. And those minutes, I believe, are very eye-opening, and it shows the lack of transparency that really is taking place. It shows that the inner workings that are taking place in this organization, and it's failed at many levels. So those who are interested in seeing those minutes, because I have them, the council has it, they are public documents. You can either make a request for these minutes, or you can also go to the coloradoboulevard.net, and the links were placed there. So that's my first comment. Second is, I think it's very important that we highlight the fact that there has been a mass exodus of board members. In less than 3 months, you had longtime leaders in the community resigning from this chamber. You had President Joanna Jimenez, Vice President Karina Rivera, immediate past President Alexis Salamanca, followed by Terry Huerta, Stanley Soto, and Water Board member Charles Trevino. All Latinos, by the way. They were all concerned with integrity and sustainability issues mentioned tonight, not business friendly. We can't ignore that. I feel like we're just kind of putting that aside. These are people that we've worked with. These are people that have businesses in the city. Well, most of them do. I think it's important that we look at that as a sign that, you know, our taxpayer money shouldn't be associated with an organization that is clearly not functioning. And these members, which are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 members that we know of, then there's also the regular members, but these are board members that resign. Next, let's look at the financials. I asked specifically, and I got 2 more council members that said we wanted to see financials. All we got were tax returns, and the excuse that was given was that the tax returns aren't filed until November 23rd. Okay, but if you go through the minutes, there is ongoing conversation about the financials. So they do exist. They have to exist. You just don't have tax returns. You have to have financials, just like we did this evening. We talked about it. In the minutes, it said that the audit was, well, in the minutes, it describes this exchange, and it shows that intentionally the chamber disregarded the audit, which is part of their bylaws. It was discarded by one of their board members, which is Arcadia Mayor and San Gabriel Chamber board member, Paul Chang. Why would you not do an audit? It's very basic, and if you have nothing to hide, complete transparency, many organizations do it. There's no reason to disregard it completely. Then, if you continue to read the minutes, if you look at the tax returns, the ones that were provided, first of all, they're prepared by a temple business owner, so that stood out. But also, it shows that a lot of money came in, but if you kind of drill down, you find out why there's so much money in the tax returns they gave us. That's because they took out an SBA loan, a $185,000 SBA loan that needs to be repaid. For any size organization, that is severe debt. How are you going to pay that back? Then, if you, again, continue to look at the minutes, it shows that the executive director is being paid $9,500. That's base and benefits. I actually had a police officer approach me and say that the executive director is earning more than him. Does that make sense? And again, you're on this path, you should be making adjustments, and it starts with salary. If the current financial would be made available, it would also disclose what the board members who resigned saw, and that's a chamber that's in significant debt with lack of membership. If you don't have membership, you cannot be economically sustainable. That's just the basics. Looking at the city membership that was fabricated or created, if you look at the June 8th minutes, it's cited by the then board secretary, Stanley Soto. He says, the presidential circle membership, literally, I think you have to understand that this is the first time we've done this. It has not existed in the past. This arose out of contracts negotiations that failed. What he is saying is, well, we couldn't meet up to the contracts because then we have to be accountable. So we had to make up this circle membership, and that's what we're looking at. It was a way to dodge accountability, and so they had to create this. And I believe a lot of you in the public, out front, there was a list of all the memberships that we as a city are involved with. It included police, community services, fire, city council. And if you look at that list of membership, not one was as high as the $23,000. It would be the highest membership fee, including police and fire, that we have, or we would have if we would vote for it tonight. And if you think about public works and any contract that we enter into, we always say we look at the lowest bidder and we look at the most responsible bidder. In this case, it is the highest and is the most irresponsible. Why would we contract into something like this, the membership fee, again, with no accountability? Then we have, I was going to mention that the closest we do have on that membership list that hopefully all of you have is the COG. It is a trusted organization that cities around the San Gabriel Valley are involved with. They have multi-level support. They are a true voice at a regional level. Their fee is only $20,779, not even the $23,000. And then, let's see, we talked about businesses, you know, that we're interested in businesses thriving. Well, our businesses are thriving because of people like Aldo Cervantes and his department. They're the ones who are in contact with our businesses. They have newsletters, they have resources. It is not the chamber. The chamber is not the contact here for our businesses. I know his department could really use this $23,000. We can hire a part-time staff and probably do more outreach than our community has ever seen. Let's see. We also have, regarding membership, let me drill down that on membership too. So the reality is businesses are aware now that you can't place a trust with our chamber. And that's so evident. They had a September event that was canceled. It was canceled because people pulled out. They don't want to be part of it. They had a journal or a brochure, whatever you want to call it. They sold pages. They collected $13,500. Again, it's in the minutes. It was never published, nor was the money ever returned. I even had a chamber vendor call me stating that that event that they just canceled, that money was owed to them, but they now realize that the chamber will never pay them, and the word is out. There's no trust or integrity. So why would we as a city want to be associated with them? But again, to me, the most compelling point of this lack of membership is back, if you could look at the March 23rd, 2023 minutes. That's just a couple months from now. Cited by the board treasurer, she states, we have 55 members that have paid, which equals 14,000. This chamber needs to have 300 to 400 members to be viable. This chamber will not reach 300 to 400 members. They've been exposed. There is just too much that has taken place. It is not going to be able to have that reach. It's just not going to happen. Then we have here, let's see, we also talked about let's see, I make sure. Well, I think that I'll reserve my comments after I hear some of my colleagues, but I agree with many of those who wrote in that we shouldn't be using taxpayer monies. We shouldn't misuse our funds. We should be good stewards. The chamber is not fiscally sustainable. It's irresponsible. It avoids any kind of oversight, including a mandatory audit per their own bylaws. So I vote not to have any financial support. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councilmember.
I respectfully disagree with my colleague, Councilwoman Menchaca. While I was carefully considering this issue, I wrote down some of my thoughts. To me, it seems only logical and makes sense for a city and the city's Chamber of Commerce to work together. I mean, our common goal is to bring successful businesses into San Gabriel. That's what improves our city, it grows our economy, and it allows us to provide better services for our residents. Now, why would a city not hold a membership in its own chamber? I mean, it makes no sense. I mean, the whole purpose of a chamber is to attract good businesses into our city. Now, regarding the cost, I know we're talking about got to be talking about the money and the cost-benefit analysis. Now, I understand that our local neighboring cities, most of them participate as members of their respective chambers. And I'll kind of just take you through a couple of the numbers. I try not to get too wonky. Right next door in Alhambra, they pay about $60,000 a year in a contract for their Chamber of Commerce. And of course, their population's almost double what ours is. So let's say half. Even if we say half, under saying that if their population was similar to ours, 40 to 45,000 people, that'd still be $30,000 a year that they pay to their, they invest in their Chamber of Commerce. Now, Arcadia, their population's more similar to ours, a little bit more, 55,000 people, but their annual contribution, contract amount, whatever you want to call it, membership, is $95,000. Monrovia, they're at about 38,000 people, so a little bit smaller than our city, but even they pay a $55,000 membership annually. And Temple City, they're a little smaller than us. They're 36,000 people. And even the small city like Temple City, they have a contract with their own Chamber of Commerce annually at about $62,000. So, I mean, looking at these numbers, for our size, comparably, I would say that $23,000 seems like a great value. I mean, perhaps some of our neighbors are actually more financially successful than we are because they make a bigger investment in their chamber. Especially, and that's kind of just the bringing you through the numbers and the math. But on a personal note, especially over the last 5 years, I've participated personally in many chamber events hosted by many of the local chambers, not just San Gabriel. And I've done a lot of networking and talked to a lot of people. Now, most people I meet, one of the things they tell me is that the biggest recurring comment that I get, again, from a lot of the people that I meet is that for many of them, San Gabriel is their favorite chamber. They tell me that dollar for dollar, they get the best bang for their buck membership-wise. They get the best value. They have the most. Our San Gabriel chamber has the most events that are free, even for non-members. They're very generous. They, as Ms. Moshier did say, that she was never pressured into a membership, and it's suggested that local business owners have a membership, and there are benefits to membership, but it's never harshly pushed upon, pushed upon the business owner. So I do notice that, and I've heard it many, many times. And to that level, I would say I have noticed that some of the other chambers, what they do, a lot of times, most of the other chambers, they will try to nickel and dime you for every single event. You know, you got to, if you're a member or if you're not a member, you got to pay $15 for this, $10 for that, $20 for this. But our chamber, I think our chamber does a very good job that they don't try to nickel and dime you. There are a lot of events that everyone is welcome to participate in. And again, if you do choose to have membership, there is a certain level of additional benefit that the members do receive. Let's see. Yeah, when I look at this, I think that our chamber's success is largely due to Executive Director Sandy Roscoe's hard work, her dedication, and great leadership. I mean, I have no problem approving this city membership. So that's my opinion. But I'd like to hear other council members' opinions. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Ding.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. Yeah. So thanks the staff for bringing back to the Chamber of Commerce the membership fee. So actually, for me, it's even before my election, I already joined the Chamber of Commerce. Okay. So I believe the Chamber of Commerce should be like with the bridge with the city, whole community together to help our local business and actually is help our resident too. Okay. Another thing is I really want to see that because this time it created a new membership fee. So is there any listing for the benefit for the city? That's meaning Councilmember Chen is also talking about neighborhood city will have the contract. But I remember it's back to 2020, right? So we discussed to have the contract, but that time I don't know why we don't move on the contract. But that time, so yeah, city maybe have some financial assistance to the Chamber of Commerce, but we also need accountability. We need have a contract, see we can follow up to what they can achievement, because even another issue, another case we discussed before, to a resident consideration, the money it's really good for our the resident, right? So for this issue, for me, my view, it's good if financially can support it, but we need accountability and work out. So maybe staff can work out to some solution to help the Chamber of Commerce and the city, like I say, have the bridge it together to help our community. So is it, I'm open mind to listen the rest of the council member. So it's really, okay, by the way, I just want to ask, is there any city that don't have the city assistant, our neighborhood city?
Well, I know of two cities, Monterey Park and El Monte.
Monterey Park and El Monte, okay. And Alhambra, Arcadia, Monrovia, Temple City. They
have contracts, so
that's
they're
have the
actually
contract,
accountable.
right.
Yes,
Yeah,
they're
contract
accountable.
is, okay.
So we still have the contract from 2020,
Uh-huh.
but the chambers refused to sign it. So that's why we stopped giving them money. But all these other cities do have accountability.
Is it possible to still working on the contract with the Chamber of Commerce? Is it possible? So that's, I think that maybe the staff and with the chamber have the further discussion too, right? So, yeah, I think that's my point already come out. Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Ding. Vice Mayor Wu.
Thank you, Mayor. Before I start, I would like to make sure that I don't have to excuse myself from this discussion because I'm the paid member to the Chamber of Commerce, and also I became the member before I got appointed as a council member.
Okay, so should I, cannot, I'm a member too.
And we are reducing the number of the guys, right? But is there any problem that as a member?
You say you're a paid member, meaning you're paying them money, they're not paying you.
I'm paying the money.
Yeah. Yeah, and in exchange for that, you're getting what benefits of membership?
I'm so busy, not enough time to get a benefit, I guess.
He's a paid member.
Yeah, if you're paying them and not receiving money from them, then I don't think that that's a financial benefit to you.
Oh, okay. There's nothing I receive, not money, but maybe the connections, knowing more people. But there's nothing about the money. I paid it out, but I just want to make sure because this is I'm a member, but not board member.
Right, and if the city pays money to the entity, that's not going to result in your membership being discounted in any way, correct?
but that is out of my pocket. I paid out of my pocket.
No, I understand that, but I mean, by virtue of making this decision, it's not going to reduce your membership fees.
No, I don't believe so.
Yeah, but maybe same question, if we pay the fee, if the Chamber of Commerce give it to our member, have some benefit. So is there conflict interest?
If you were receiving money or benefits from the entity, I would have to look at those benefits and see if they constituted a financial benefit, and then we would have a question about whether or not it was a conflict of interest. But based on what I'm hearing, it sounds like this is, you're paying them, not the other way around.
Okay. So your answer actually based on the contract, based on what kind of benefit they provided, then you can let us know we can.
I mean, you're not getting insurance through the entity or anything else?
No, right now. But I mean, we never know who's the member. It's a sell the insurance to me too.
No, I don't have any business referral from that.
It doesn't sound like it's a financial benefit that would require your recusal.
I see. Okay, well, thank you. I thought that the person who pays always speak louder, but it's not true. But thank you so much, Mayor, and thank you so much, Keith, for the clarification. May I have Caroline just come to, I have some questions about to our staff. Thank you, Caroline. Thank you so much for the staff report. I just have a few questions about, according to the staff report, that we used to pay Chamber of Commerce $31,680 annually before 2020. Is that correct?
Yes.
So between 2021 to 2023, is there any, we didn't pay them, but is there any significant services that from Chamber has been suspended due to the cease of financial support?
Between 2020 and currently?
Yes.
I'm not aware of exactly how or what sort of partnership we had during that time, and it was before my time here. I just know historically that we have partnered with them on city events. I'm not sure exactly to what capacity, but I can try and find that out.
Okay, great. So do we have, still have the agreement that our city staff presented to Chamber in June 2020? Because on the bottom of the first page, it shows that staff presented the proposed agreement with the Chamber. I'm just curious, do you still have those copies?
That agreement was never adopted, so it may be, I may have a working draft or file in the hard drive somewhere, but it wasn't adopted, so it's not in our city records.
I see. So I browsed the website. You have listed 4 neighboring cities: Alhambra, Arcadia, Monrovia, and Temple City. So I browsed the websites for those chambers of commerce in the city. So under their business directory, the city of Arcadia and Monrovia are part of their chamber under the directory search system. So is there any chance that we may know if the city is, actually they have the same, like a presidential circle membership, or how they work with? Because it sounds like that they are, the cities are the member of the chamber, but how?
They do pay their chambers as they are members, and in those agreements, they do have a scope of work and deliverables that their chamber then provides based on the agreement.
So does that define as membership or service agreement?
I believe it's service agreements.
It's a service agreement, so it's not like a member.
However, some cities, like I know Monrovia, some staff are actual members, like they have a membership, but the city as a whole it's not a membership per se.
I see, okay, but they still can be found under the Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
I see. Well, thank you, Caroline. So, Mayor, will I have a chance to maybe talk to this representative from the chamber?
Of course, if they're willing to speak to you.
Sure.
At your service.
Thank you. Actually, there are several issues that concern the community the most before the city can decide whether to fund or stop funding. But the first one, of course, is the financial status. I personally believe this is not our job to judge the board, your board members' decision regarding who should or who should not get paid, or how much the chamber pays, its staff. But I think it's our responsibility to ensure that taxpayers' money is spent in the right place. So forgive me if any questions you don't feel, comfortable with, but I think I have to ask you. So considering about the challenge posed by the pandemic over the past few years, and the chamber's ability to continue without grants from the city, could you provide an update on your current financial status?
So the financial state is tight.
Tight.
You've seen our 990s for the last few years. It is tight. Now, I'm not the financial person. I'm not the treasurer. So, that's not my forte to really talk about too much. But I can tell you that it is tight. However, we have a new board. We have 9 members. The 3 that resigned, we filled those positions. And we're very excited about the 3 that are bringing new energy and their experience and expertise and knowledge. And we have a plan. We know that we need to increase membership. As I mentioned earlier, we are going door to door, and there is not an inch that we're not going to not cover. And I'm excited to work with Shelly Chia, who speaks both Mandarin and Cantonese. I don't speak, I speak English and Persian. And we are going to go into the community and increase membership. I forgot to bring my cell phone, but we've had a decrease in membership, certainly because of the pandemic. A lot of businesses that have closed their doors and they haven't reopened. And we had sort of a drop, and then we had an increase. So I know that we are a service for the community, that people want to come back and want to open up and join. And I believe that what we do for the community is incredible. I know that we can increase our membership and get our revenue back to the place that it should be.
Okay. So you mentioned about the financial status is quite tight, but based on the tax return that you provided, I feel I'm like an IRS agent, but I'm not. Well, but 2019 it shows a deficit. Then 2020 it shows a surplus. And 2021 reported a significant negative balance with no payroll expense that time. So do you have sufficient funds to continue operating and serving our business community effectively? I think many people, they do have those concerns.
As I mentioned, we have a board that's committed, and we know we have plans on increasing our membership to be able to carry out this next fiscal year responsibly.
Okay. So, I believe the result is important. So you said you do have a plan to improve and increase your membership.
Correct.
Then, and also improve the financial too, right? So the Chamber of Commerce actually playing a very crucial role as a bridge between the city and local businesses. That also includes distributing the city's business news and policies. I know that you have doing that.
Yes.
But for the presidential circle membership, could you outline the specific additional benefits that the Chamber will provide to our business community?
So you received a letter with the 23,000, and it outlined all the things that we would do. I want to make sure that it's clear. This is not a contract. It is a membership. Just like you are a member, you pay, and you receive all these events that we inform you, and you have the opportunity to sponsor events, you have the opportunity to, glow and promote your business. Our executive director and the board of directors, we reach out to those members and we help. We are the conduit to help businesses become known, become recognized, become promoted. So this is a membership. It's not intended to be contractual. I know you've talked about maybe there should be some kind of an agreement, some kind of a deliverables. I think if that's your position, you'd have to let us know, and that would be something we'd have to discuss with the board. We do have one full-time paid employee, and that's it. So we have to really think about what can we return for you as the city in terms of deliverables with that one full-time employee.
Okay, so the membership is more like spiritual feel.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that. So in that, I don't have the letter right in front of me. I can go grab my phone, but
No,
it
no worries.
basically, I pulled it up just as you were talking earlier.
I see.
When you're a member, and when I'm a member, what do I get? I get promoted on the website. I get promoted every time there is an event. Sandy will get up and promote the heck out of me. And when we have our networking breakfast, I know you've come, many of you have come, once a month. We have between 80 to 100 people there. Somehow she manages to talk about everybody that's there, and everybody knows, and then there's business that is getting exchanged. So we will do the same thing for the city membership. If there's something going on in the city, we're gonna let our members know. And besides just putting the newsletters up, we're gonna also do more in terms of newsletters. There's gonna be some improved technology that will come, so looking forward to doing that.
Yeah, I forgot, I received something. It was just called a free breakfast. Would that count? No.
Financial benefit.
I hope not. Financial benefits, I hope not. Well, but I don't, I just try to get I don't have the agreements that happened in 2020s in hand, but what items that stop you from accepting the proposed agreement in 2020?
That was before my time. I don't even know what it was, honestly. I don't know if Gary wants to talk about that, or maybe we can bring back a response. That was before my time, so I can't even guess. I don't want to go there.
I just wanted to add, that agreement back in 2020 was modeled after South Pasadena. The agreement, the contract that we proposed was modeled after South Pasadena just because of the size and the city. But it provided very specific deliverables, and it was very realistic for a chamber.
I'd actually like to add, because I was there. Before that, we didn't have a contract with deliverables.
Before 2020.
Before 2020. We were funding the chamber to the tune of, 30-some-odd thousand. In my opinion and my estimation, the idea was to give an unrealistic bill of goods that one person could never fulfill, that in good faith, you couldn't sign that contract. And that's what happened in 2020, was the best way to get rid of them is to, hey, let's put this list of things that one person could never fulfill. That way they won't sign it and we'll just be done with it. And that's what happened, in my opinion. And every year since then, I said, why aren't we chamber members? Why aren't we chamber members? Why aren't we chamber members?
Well, that was along the lines because we had a lot of other arrangements with other vendors or organizations that we didn't have contracts. And so we were very deliberate in making sure, for example, towing company. We never had a contract with a towing company. So that summer, through the leadership of Mark and myself as mayor, we made sure that we were no longer just distributing money without the proper transparency and accountability. That's why we entered into a contract, because we were just giving monies out with nothing in return.
So, okay, so that probably partially answered my questions about there's something that they won't be able to accept because it's too long, the line is too long, or because this is only one full-time staff and it won't be able to fulfill that what we want them to.
It would be like you trying to sign a contract that you know you couldn't fulfill. Why would you sign it?
But South Pass signed it, and they have one person too.
They didn't sign a contract with us.
South Pass signed with their chamber.
That's a whole different city and a whole
No,
different.
well, it is, but at least if you're going to start making comparisons, mentioning other cities, you have to also mention South Pass. They have one person that happens to live in San Gabriel, and they were able to meet those deliverables.
I see. Thank you. Do you mind if I can finish my, I just have one more question, if you don't mind, Mary. Thank you. So Gilda, I just have one more question about on the page 3 of, I don't know if you can answer it because this is more like a financial thing, but on the page 3 of 2021 California statement, it shows that SBA loan of the amount of $185,500. Is that the number that Chamber still owes, or it's already been forgiveness?
No, we still owe that.
You still owe that? I
Yes.
see. Okay. So far, you still have enough funds to operate as a daily need, right?
Yes.
I see. Okay, well, thank you.
May I ask one question?
Sure.
Is that okay? Is it
Certainly.
permitted? Okay.
Yeah, this is an agendized item.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Machanka, you referred to minutes. I don't know what minutes you're referring to and how you got hold of those minutes.
Minutes were sent to each of the council members, and they're the minutes for the chamber. And my understanding is that they're public, it's a public document. Anybody who's a member could have access to them. And if we do have members here that are, on the council, they have every right to get them.
So were they requested or somebody gave them to you?
Someone gave them to us.
I don't believe that minutes are public record. I've served on many boards, and I don't believe I'd have to verify that for myself.
We're not going to be going back and forth in the public. But
Maybe asking our city attorney. The minutes of the public, or not?
Yeah, really. I've been involved tonight. It's nice to be involved. The chamber is not a public agency, so the Public Records Act doesn't apply to the chamber. As to whether or not they keep their minutes as public records or not, I don't know. That would be up to the agency to decide.
So it's the question is any private non-profit organization, their minutes, it's not a public record.
They are not subject to the California Public Records Act.
Okay, thank you.
But a member could ask for them if they want them.
I imagine so. It's just
Yeah,
up to the
okay.
policy of the agency.
So my question furthermore is, if you referenced minutes with lots of stuff, can it actually be used in this meeting for decision-making when it was not furnished by the Board of Directors? That's my question. Thank you.
I mean, it's up to the discretion of the council, what information we use, what information we don't use. As far as the minutes themselves, they were not city documents. If somebody sent them to the city, that doesn't make them public record. And I think the city attorney will back this because the public record owner aren't the individual owners or are the individual members or board members. It's the body as a whole. The body would have to vote to make that document public. Otherwise, a member, board member, or someone has breached the bylaws of the organization.
That is my concern because there was so much reference made to contents in those minutes.
Wait.
So that's my concern.
I'm sorry, let me get clarification. If it was sent to the council members, anything that's sent to us becomes a public document. So anyone from the public could request, if this is done time after time, anything relating to the chamber, they want to have that information. That's the point where it becomes a public document, when it's sent to us.
Unless it was
Correct.
obtained illegally against contract.
It wasn't obtained
well-
illegally. It was sent to us as council members, just like everything else is sent to us.
Can I ask one thing, Keith? Who owns the exemption? Is it the private entity with confidential information, or is it the city? So if I send the city a confidential document that does not belong to me, does that make it exempt or not exempt from?
Okay, so
That's what I'm telling you.
This is my law school exam night.
Well, I do public records for a living, so I can tell you, we don't hold that exemption, and we can't waive someone else's exemption.
It was sent to us. Once it's sent to council members, it becomes a public document.
Mike, do I get to talk? The answer is that, yes, Mayor Harrington is correct that the issue of the privacy of the document is an issue for the chamber. If somebody improperly leaked a document, that would be subject to whatever action between that person and the chamber exists. There's a separate question, is what happens when that document ends up in public records? And the answer is that absent some kind of legal action by the entity, we would treat it as a public record until ordered not to. So it would be up to the entity then to defend the privacy of that document at that point.
Yeah, so they just need an email to the city saying, this is our record, remove it from your system, or we'll initiate a public records violation against you. Simple. It's a letter, actually. It's not even a public, it's not a.
The document has already been requested, it's already been printed. Why hide it? If
I
there's,
don't think it's hiding, it's whether it's.
well, this is where we're getting most of our truths.
We? Who's we?
We, the council.
Ah, got it, okay.
I really would like anybody who wants information to come to the source. The source is, thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor Wu, for calling me up to ask questions. I would really like to request the council to come to the source. And the source is the Board of Directors and Sandy Roscoe, our Executive Director. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions?
So Mayor, should we have Mary first, or?
Is this public comment, or what?
It's
I'll
regarding,
I'll be happy to ask her a question.
Is she a member of the chamber?
yes, I am, and a
Okay,
past
there you go.
president.
Let's
And
go.
so that's why I came tonight, because I've been reading all this information, and it concerned me what was going on. As a past president of the Chamber of Commerce, I was the one that came to city council back in 1999 and 2000, when I was president, and requested money from city council to support the chamber. That amount was $2,000, and I remember signing a contract along with Jean Rhea and myself. So I don't know what happened to that, if you guys can look for it, but there was an initial contract signed when I came and requested those funds. And to hear that they're requesting $23,000 is outrageous. I'm sorry. I love Sandy, she does a good job at the chamber, but I'm sorry, if you cannot provide an audit of what you're doing with this money, I don't believe in the chamber. Any business should be able to provide documentation of your money coming in and your money going out. If not, you don't know how to run a business. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, so I just want to share some of my thought. Well, first of all, I think today that presents a very good opportunity that we can examine the health of the breach that between the city and the business community. So there are a couple of points I would like to address to my colleagues in the community, that if we will be paying $23,000 as a fee for the scope of work, we should really consider to establishing a membership with a service agreement, which means we need an agreement, but not just like giving the money out, but we don't know what our expectation is. We should really tell them the partner, because I treat the chamber as a partner, and we are the business-friendly city, and it doesn't make sense to me. We just say we don't want to work with the chamber. But I mean, I understand that they may have some pretty challenge time, especially right now. They talk about the financial pretty tight. That worries me a little, not little. but we should really stand on the points of helping, trying to make everything getting improved, because this is the purpose that we want to make the community getting stronger. So I would say if we will be granting anything, including the funds, then we should really have a list of the scope of works, our expectation, our wish list. and with a service agreement. So we can either review the previous version of the agreements or I think Mary just mentioned we had an agreement in year 2000. We probably can just find out if we have any record. If not, then we should create a new one and negotiating with the chamber to make the agreement mutually beneficial. So with the funds set, contingent upon the agreement being signed is essential, I would say that. And second, we should support the chamber in a transparent manner. The chamber can improve its financial status by increasing the percentage of local business membership. So boosting the revenue and achieving the financial stability. I think that's important. We are not giving the money, but it's not really helping them at all. We want to see it grows because when we have a stronger chamber, that means we probably will have a stronger community in the business side. And the last one, we often refer ourselves as a business-friendly city, and it's pretty crucial that we live up with this reputation. I would like to see our city that can maintain a commitment in empowering our growing business community. So that's my point. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to add a few comments, if I may. I was here in 2020 when this, I will call it contract, was presented, which I think was unrealistic, and I said so at the time. And that's why I asked to see what other memberships we have, and asked how many of them do we have audit rights, how many of them do we have, what's the benefit to the city, what's going on, and that's why you find that document there. None of them do we have any rights, like we're asking. Like, what are the deliverables of the COG? Nothing. They give us no deliverables. They don't have a single deliverable to the city. What are the deliverables of the League of Cities? Nothing. We have no deliverables. I mean, we have all of these lists. We have all these things, no deliverables. We have Kiwanis. What does Kiwanis deliver us as far as a deliverable? I know we do things with Kiwanis, but there's no list of deliverables that they have to give to the city.
But we're not asking for $23,000. It's a
Haven't asked.
No, but how can you compare 23,000 to a Kiwanis Club Historical Society?
Well, how can you compare receiving a benefit of getting a membership when you're on
Because
the board?
there are contracts
That's a
there. The
conflict.
cities that you
Is that a
have
conflict,
mentioned-
though? Is that a conflict?
No, it's not a conflict. When you're mentioning these other cities, Arcadia, Alhambra, Monrovia, Temple City, South Pasadena, that was excluded here, they have contracts. It's not that unreasonable to ask for deliverables at $23,000.
So I'm going to reclaim my time, and I will say that let's go to Arcadia first. They have several membership levels. Connector, $1,250, Supporter, $2,500, Leader, $5,000, Partner, $10,000, Visionary, $15,000, Champion, $25,000. Their deliverables, you get a year membership, your logo on the website, you get logo on marketing material.
Then just be a member. Why do we have to pay $23,000?
Let's be a champion member at $25,000. I mean, that's what it is. It's a membership. Their deliverables are
But you can be a
equivalent to
member
what
as
was
a-
offered
as an
by the
individual. You don't
I'm
have
gonna
to
keep
use taxpayer
I'm not
money.
debating. I'm giving my comments. So
I'm sorry.
the city of Arcadia has a championship membership at $25,000. The deliverables are listed on their website. They're very similar to what was given to the city of San Gabriel. It's not unreasonable. The reason Arcadia has a quote-unquote contract is because they're funding to the tune of $94,000, not the $25,000 membership. Arcadia could have easily just joined at $25,000 and called it a day. That's something we could do. Very similar. You go to the other chambers, they all have levels of membership. There's not one flat rate. Some depend on staff, your staffing levels. Others, so let's say Alhambra, they have lots of different levels of memberships. But their benefits on their memberships are the same. Grand opening and ribbon cuttings, referrals, information services, website, mailing labels and rosters, sponsorships, networking, notary services. So there's a bunch of things you get as member benefits. Those are not deliverables. And I know they have a contract, but it's because they're going above and beyond their highest membership levels. Same thing with Monrovia. You go through their benefits. It's website listing, hot links to your business, e-blasting, business action, and they have different levels of membership. Same thing. I'm going through Temple City, because these are the ones that were listed. That's the only reason I chose. These are the ones that were listed in the staff report. They have types of memberships: restaurants, nonprofits, large businesses, residents, premium memberships, 1,500, 2,500, 5,000, 7,500. But I believe the city wanted more than that, so they entered into a contract. So I'm not saying we don't enter into a contract. What I'm saying is we don't sabotage the contract like we did in 2020. And by we, I mean the council, not me. We gave unrealistic expectations that were not able to be fulfilled by one person. I find it quite telling that we have documents from a private entity that are being released to the quote-unquote public by the same group of 4 or 5 people. And we know who they are. I'm not going to say anything. We have people that were, I'll call them just like a disgruntled former employee, and they left the chamber on bad terms and are trying to now smear it. And it's a pretty good smear job because they get to use the media too, and appointed and elected officials to add weight behind it. I don't think that's proper. I don't think that's something they would do. It's like every petty low trick in the book, saying that I have a conflict. There's no conflict there. I'm a lawyer. I'll tell you every day of the week, that's not a conflict. These are just petty. To me, the city, it's almost shameful, in my opinion, the way this chamber is being treated. We have documents that do not belong to the city, that did not belong to the people that let those documents out. They belong to the chamber itself as a body. No individual can make that decision. The president couldn't make that decision. The vice president couldn't make that decision. The immediate past president couldn't make that decision. Only the entire board can release its own documents. We have to keep that in mind. So all of this quote-unquote public document stuff, if they wanted to take action, I'm sure the chamber could, and they would have a ripe cause of action against the individuals that we now have a record that release it to the city, and now we have the city that released it, so the city would be liable for any damages. Say the city could potentially be liable. So that's something that I do public records for a living. I can tell you, cities lose these type of lawsuits all the time. When they release documents that don't belong to them, all you have to do is prove that it did not belong to you, it was not exempt, and then there's a cause of action, and then what's the financial harm to that? Here, I would argue that it's preventing a membership, so that could be that plus other stuff. So to me, this is a very simple thing. And to call it nefarious, to call it all these words that have been thrown out that it's not transparent, it's quite transparent. There's the amount, and there's the list of the letter of what we're getting. We can make that decision that we don't want those services, that those services are listed in a letter. We can say we don't think there's value to those services, so we don't want to do it. Those are perfectly fine. Those are perfectly fine things for us to do. But to say there's no services, it's the same services that other chambers of commerce issue. They're very nebulous by design because that's what chambers do. They network people. They get people together. They let you make contacts that you've never made with other people, and I think we've had some people say that here. And to say we're handing out money, this is exactly what I said when we were giving our business grants. We're just handing out money. What does the city get to return? I voted no on that because I don't think we should just hand out money. I think the chamber does provide us a service, and they have provided us a service. In the past 3 years, they've been providing a service with not even one employee is a member of the chamber, which I find strange that we have. I don't know why. We're not one single person, not economic development, not community development. Nobody is a member. I find that quite strange. To me, it's quite simple. We either, as a body, decide, yes, it makes sense to work with the chamber, the San Gabriel Chamber being the city of San Gabriel, or we don't. I think a lot of these behind-the-scenes, inside information stuff is simply meant to smear the chamber and make it look bad. And I know some things that I'm not going to say on the dais about how that happened and what happened, because I've discussed it with some chamber members, board members, and I really think that some of these issues really need to just be put to bed, move forward, and not backwards. No, this is my time. I didn't
Asked to come up.
So I really think that a lot of this, and I've been around a while, believe me, I've been on council for a number of years. I've seen issues like this. And there's a lot of things we know that we can't say, and we shouldn't say. And there's also a lot of things that, in the past, I may not have brought some of these things to light, but I really think this is just a smear job. That's all it is. I don't like some of the people. I'm going to do everything in my power, including behind the scenes, everything I can to just, let's not fund this chamber. I think this is one of the most disgraceful things I've seen, honestly. The behavior, the blogging, or whatever you want to call it, I don't know what it's called, online stuff. It's not media, it's online blogging, in my opinion. Just to say, look, the media has said this. Like, the media is one person. It's something that somebody said that's their opinion. It doesn't mean it's true. You can write whatever you want. And there's lots of legal implications for that. I have a few other things. Having a loan doesn't make you bankrupt. Otherwise, everyone with a mortgage is bankrupt because they owe more money than they have in income. Having a loan means you have a certain amount of monthly payment that you have to make. That's a loan. I think everyone knows how a loan works. That doesn't make you insolvent. That doesn't make you any different than almost any other organization that borrows. So try and make a loan seem like it's a bad thing. And anyone that takes out a loan, are they financially irresponsible and close to bankruptcy because they have more money in a loan than they make in a year? Then almost anyone with a mortgage is bankrupt. Because that loan represents opportunity to use that money to grow membership, to start programs, to do things that increase the chamber's revenue. So I don't see that as a negative thing. I think it's quite responsible to take out loans when you need infusions of cash. That's how lending works. That's why lending works. SBA loans you have to qualify for, and they went through a government qualification process. If the SBA thought that they couldn't pay them back, then the SBA wouldn't have given that loan out. That's how loans work. It's a calculated risk. So I don't think that should be calculated or characterized as a negative thing. I think it is what it is. It's a loan. I really do think the city needs to step up, needs to join the chamber. And I think whether we say this is the appropriate level or not, that's a council decision. I think it's an appropriate level. I really do. Looking at a lot of the other chambers around us, this isn't even the highest quote-unquote membership. And it would be, if we required a contract, it would be, I'd say on a per capita basis, the very lowest of any city mentioned. I don't know what city funds at this level. So to me, it's not supporting this. There's only a couple of reasons you could do that, and none of them are good. So that's the end of my comments.
John, could you speak to why we should spend that money? Because you came up with a lot of the negative. Could you, with all due respect, can you speak to why we should spend the $23,000 for those of us in the community that would just want your point of view on that?
So why should we spend any money as a city? Because we get benefits from it. So from the chamber, we got a list of benefits. It's in the letter. They help bring businesses to our city. I had a call last week from the chamber to hook our economic development people up with a business coming from another city to San Gabriel. That came from the chamber. That's potential. It's a big business with lots of revenue that otherwise probably wouldn't even look at San Gabriel. That's a benefit. We have chamber mixers where businesses get to, in San Gabriel, get to network, and they meet people both inside of San Gabriel, outside of San Gabriel. The city, for many years, was very active in that. In the past 4 years, we haven't been. We had staff members always attending, like multiple staff members, city manager, economic development manager, just all different levels would be in attendance. Those were all people that met businesses that weren't necessarily in the city, and they could convince them, look, we're business friendly, you've met us in person. That we're not doing that right now because the city really just burned a bridge. Bad decision. I'll address that. That's something I think was at the time shameful and continues to be shameful. I'm not shy about saying that. That's my true belief. We should be partnering more with the city on with the chamber on all of our events, because in the end, we need more sponsors. The more businesses that get involved, the more the chamber gets involved with businesses, the more they're able to bring sponsorship opportunities to city events. What's their interest in doing that if the city has no involvement with our chamber? So it becomes just like, here's the city and here's business. And the bulk of our revenue comes on property and sales tax. Sales tax comes from businesses. So we need a healthy and vital relationship. We really do need that. And I don't think we've had one for a while with our chamber. The chamber brings a lot of benefits. And you can't itemize it. Here's our $23,000. We got $500 from this. We got $200 from this. This is worth $1,000, that network. So to say like that, you're not going to ever be able to do it with any chamber. I don't think there's an issue with some deliverables like, oh, you will attend events. Okay. Oh, you will host whatever. Okay. But to put it into a contract like we did in 2020 wasn't realistic. It's really not. That's why I'm saying I'm fine with a membership with a list of here's generally what the chamber is doing, and it's just like what Arcadia says they're doing, just like what a lot of other, at a $25,000 membership. I don't think we're making it sound like it's this huge financial commitment and it's going to bankrupt the city and all. It's $25,000. We have, as we just were presented, a very healthy budget, and to not make that investment in our chamber, like I said, is shameful.
Thank you, John.
Mayor, are you done? So I can start with my comments. Well, I do agree with you with the shameless, but it's shameless that we're even discussing this. It is very clear. You talk to Monterey Park and El Monte, they do not have a chamber because of the same issues that we're going through. And they have great bridges with their businesses. You tell them that, in some way they have not benefited from the chamber. It's the opposite. So our connection with the businesses will continue. Talking about disparaging board members, those board members who resigned were very courageous. They saw something and they weren't going to be part of it. And they made it very clear in their resignation letters that, again, we were sent to, they can send whoever they want the resignation letters. They were very specific. And with that, I want to bring up one of the courageous, I call, board members who really loves the city and who is trying to let us know that this is wrong. Joanna, I'm asking you to come up and speak to anything any of us have said, because I know you've been very quiet.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for allowing me to come up. Again, my name is Joanna Jimenez. Thank you, city council members, mayor. Can you hear me?
Yeah, a little closer.
Yep, a little
Okay,
more.
yeah, so,
You're
you
short.
know, I am the past president for the San Gabriel Chamber of Commerce. And you know what I want to say is, I have supported the Chamber of Commerce. I have I don't disagree with the fact that the Chamber of Commerce has been there through thick and thin. I've been a part of the Chamber of Commerce for over 10 years, 12, 13 years. This was my second term as president. And the board of directors voted me in to help and to make and help the Chamber of Commerce get out of their deficit and whatever challenges that we were going through. Okay, and I was the one that submitted the letter of
The membership?
the membership letter. So I proposed that. I talked to the board of directors, and we came with that. And I did, because I knew that was one thing that the chamber wanted to do was try to salvage the relationship between the city. Yeah, and I agree. That the fact of having one employee and then the recommendations that the city was imparting upon the chamber was very overwhelming for the executive director. And I've been there. But the fact is that now that we did come in, when I became aware of the financial crisis that I was not aware of, I really tried to make the right decisions in trying to bring the Chamber of Commerce back into a positive, financial status. And the board of directors, some of them weren't present, but most of them, there was a vote, and they voted for the the executive director to be put on a part-time basis. And so I brought it to the director, and, you know, it wasn't because we don't love her, because we don't appreciate her, because she wasn't doing a good job. We just couldn't afford it. We didn't have the money to continue to, you know, keep her on payroll. We just didn't. It was like, it was such a stress. The 8 months that I was on the board as president, it was, man, it was stressful. I couldn't believe it. And I kept saying to myself, what am I doing here? I did not know what I was getting myself into. I did not know financially. And when I made the, you know, tried to do the right thing, you know, and tried to enforce what, not my choice, what the board of directors voted on to go forward, I don't know what happened. They turned at the last minute. They didn't want to. They didn't want to, and they didn't know. So every month we had to, you know, scrunch up enough money to pay to get through 1 month, to get through another month, to get through another month. And I was like, we can't do this. I can't do this. I can't be a part of it.
Let me ask you, the membership, the comment was that we're going to try to increase membership. It was at 54 back in March. Do you think there's any way of increasing membership with everything that's taken place? Because 7 of you have resigned. You 7 were critical in so many different ways. I mean, starting with Alexis Salamanca, he did some incredible work. And then yourself with your leadership, then you had Karina with the breakfasts. I mean, what more can you do to increase membership with everything else that's happened? Is that even possible?
You know, I believe anything is possible if you do things the right way. If you do things with integrity, if you do things honestly, and you just, you know, you're very transparent. But I'm sorry, I didn't see that. I did not see that. And I have loved the chamber. I've been a part of the chamber for over 12 years. It broke, I mean, it just like, I couldn't believe it. And when I put my foot down and I said, we can't do this. We cannot continue to pay, you know, but it wasn't my decision. It was the board of directors' decision to put the executive director on part-time. And when that came in, I'm sorry, but when you don't, when I was one of her best friends, but when I came against her, she turned against me. But I didn't do anything wrong. All I said was we can't afford the payroll. And, you know, and that was it. It had nothing to do with.
So to
with
make
her.
any serious financial changes, you have to make some, you have to cut expenses, and when you only have one person.
And it wasn't gonna be forever. It was gonna be maybe 3 months, 6 months, until we were able to get ourselves back on our feet.
Okay, well,
But-
thank you. I just wanted to get
And I
your,
just- and I
was
just
there any
wanna-
final thoughts?
Yes, I just wanted to, you know, respond to Mayor Harrington's comment about, you know, us leaving, resigning, and being, no, I didn't. I love the chamber. I love Sandy. And you know what? No, I did it because I couldn't continue to do things that way. That's just not who I am. I had to do things different. And for you to say that, you know, we left and we're shaming and we're trying, no, that's not who I am. That's not who we are. No.
Do you know where the documents came from?
No,
Like who
I don't.
released them?
I don't know. I don't know that. And, you know, for me, I did not.
Do you think that's appropriate?
I do not shame the chamber, but I do believe in transparency. And I just believe that, you know, anything that's done in secret will be brought to the light. And I'm
Thank
sorry.
you.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me speak.
Yeah, thank you for being, well, I'm going to move to, for the first option, which is to purchase the Circle membership,
Yeah.
but with an agreement to include a scope of work and a list of deliverables.
Yeah. I have a question after I review the staff report.
Certainly.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. Okay. And then I saw the staff report also have the Chamber of Commerce apply 10,000 the grant from the city.
But that's for a later discussion. That's what it says.
For the later, okay.
That's what it says, that we're going to have a later discussion on the whole relocation assistance grant.
Okay. All right. So
Good point. Yeah.
So, Chamber of Commerce is also relocated? Okay, thank you. Okay.
So could I make my motion again?
I have more questions, yeah. Okay. And, okay, based on the both sides, the comments, okay. I know the community resident also think about where the money put in. Okay, I think this is for the member. The question: what's the percentage for the Chamber of Commerce, the business in our city of San Gabriel? Do you the 40%? Can you on the podium? Yeah.
It's best if you speak into the mic so we can have a record.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the opportunity for me to speak in front of you. Yeah, actually, right now, we experienced a big drop of members, during the past 3 years pandemic because we could not carry out a lot of programs and activities. So we experienced a big drop. So that contributed to the revenue, like the deficit that we were operating. So that's, first of all, I'm so sorry. My name is Shelley Chia. I am the board of director for San Gabriel Chamber of Commerce. And, so I would like to explain, what the cost was, the major cost was. And, yeah, it's about 40%, I reviewed our current membership, and it's about 40. They
So
live
currently, how many membership do we have?
170 as a
170.
trailing 12 months.
Okay.
170. So I want to clarify that, earlier one of the council members mentioned that, as of today, we only have 40 members. It's incorrect. Year to date means from January to the meeting time, which is in March. That's 3 months. And I counted, in that 3 months, we had about 40 members paid their renewal fees, or we have new members join during those 3 months period. So for 12 months, trailing 12 months period, right now we have 170. And as a matter of fact, we are successfully recruited quite a bit of a new members this year in the past about 4 to 6 months. Yeah, so that's quite a big accomplishment, to our progress. Yes, I recognize that, our financial position is pretty tight. But we are not afraid of sharing that, documents with you. We share with you the 3 years tax returns, which is, required by IRS regulations. We share with you. We are not
Okay.
afraid to answer questions.
Okay.
And that's a transparency.
Sorry, I
Okay.
interrupt. I have next question. It's how many resigned the executive board? They have business in the San Gabriel.
You mean the members?
The members that resign. I hear that it's executive board member they resign. They are most in the city of San Gabriel business or not?
First of all, executive members, meaning it's either president, past president, secretary, treasurer, or vice presidents.
They are the resident in the San Gabriel or business in the San Gabriel?
I think 2 of them resign. They are living in city of San Gabriel.
But how about the business in the San Gabriel?
I believe so. Yes.
Believe
Yes.
okay.
They
They
do
are
business
okay.
in the city of San
All right.
Gabriel.
So current executive board, how many member have business in the San Gabriel?
Currently, we have Richard, Mary, Wendy Holden, and Gary. We have 4 out of 9.
4 of 9, it's a resident.
Residents of San
resident or business in the San Gabriel.
Yes,
Okay.
but you have to take into consideration that we do business in the city of San Gabriel. I shop here, as well as my fellow board members and our chamber members. We shop here. We do business here. We meet clients here. We make contribution to this great city of San Gabriel.
Yeah, okay. I just want to have the question to answer, okay.
And then another question, related to the audits. Our
by law, our fiscal year end June 30th. Then how come someone asked us to close the book earlier than June 30th? That's the area that I don't understand. This is all I need to say. And also another remark I want to bring to your attention is that every month I sign the check. Every other week I sign the payroll check for our executive director. But how come nobody come to me, interview me, if that figure, 9,500 figure, is correct or not? Nobody confirmed with me.
So who will we need to confirm with you? Okay. All right.
So you're disputing that figure? It's not a correct
I
figure?
am disputing that figure, and that it's an inflated figure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Actually,
And
may I, since
so can
Shelley's up there, may I ask her a question? Since-
let me finish.
Oh, then you're gonna have to
I
come
still
back
have
up.
a question. Yeah. So yeah, after finish, you go ahead. Okay. So for the organization, so I think about it. So how the operation. I think executive board make a decision, right? Members not make a decision. Is that correct?
Well, it's now our decision making is on the entire board, not just executive directors. It's the entire board, which
Okay,
is
entire
9
board.
people.
Okay.
Nine,
So
nine
different
board,
level. Okay.
nine board members.
9 entire
9.
board, right? Yeah. So that's the board, not the board member only. That's a whole board decision. Okay. So what's the financial direction? So if the question, if it's the financially not really supported, who's liable to help? So executive board to help or all the member to help?
That is a big question. It's a very general. That's a very general. I think, in my opinion, it takes the members, the chamber members, and also the city's support as well. It takes a whole village to make us, stronger, and continue to serve the community. This is our chambers as a whole. That's our responsibility. The main responsibility.
Okay, so if with financial chamber of commerce financially, if we have problem, our city have the responsibility to support it? That's my question too.
That is, it's up to your judgment. I
Okay.
cannot answer that question on your behalf.
Okay, all right, thank you. And, okay. All right, yeah, let me, just let the council member Chen to ask in the question too, yeah.
Thank you, Councilmember Ding. Yeah, since you're up here, Shelley, this has been a long night, and I've heard certain accusations of not having audited financial statements. Now, to my understanding, your organization has annual audits. Is that correct?
Our financials are managed, and then our bookkeeping is done by independent bookkeeper.
Okay, but you do have annual audits?
Yes, we
Okay.
our fiscal year ends
Right.
June 30th.
Right.
So our current year for year 2023, our
Right.
audit was done already. The audit was done in July.
It's done in July?
Yes.
Okay, but even before this year, the previous years, you have audited financial statements?
Our bookkeepers, she does the audit on a monthly basis. So
Okay.
pretty much, after the year closes, and then she will give me a statement saying that, hey, she already, finished, reviewing the book. So, and then she say that she audited the book on a monthly basis.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Is that all question?
Yeah, for you it's okay, but another question for our staff, Caroline, but I think the 2020, I remember we want the chamber to, because the contract, it's cannot, I think the remember both the Mayor Harrington and the Councilmember Menchaca. So is there any way we talk to the chamber, so if they cannot achieve, So what kind of achievement on a contract they can do it? Is there any chance to talk to them?
Councilmember Ding, I'll answer that because Caroline wasn't here at that time. We had different staff that I believe more handed a potential contract to the chamber rather than sitting down and having a meeting and back and forth. And if council is looking for that sort of a back and forth this time, we can absolutely do that and bring something back to the council that reflects achievable by the chamber and also some accountability for the city. And I'll come back at a future meeting, and then council can decide at that point if that's meets what your expectations are, and you could add or subtract at that time. But to answer your question, I don't think it was a real two-way process last time. We took the sort of best practices from the 3 or 4 cities that we saw around us, and I think that are listed in the report, came up with what the best of the best was, and I think Mayor Harrington's memory is correct that we got back a letter that said, this is not achievable for us, so we're just going to be moving on at this point. So it was, I believe, more of a one-way street.
Okay. So I would add to that, Mark, just anticipating that if we're going to entertain a contract, I'm not sure that's something the chamber would want, so we'd have to basically, like you said, offer that to them and open for negotiations. I think if we're going to do that, we should have the negotiations open as to membership support cost based on the deliverables. So we should be able to say, it's not just 23,000 because that was the membership. If we're going to do a contract, we should be looking at what the other cities on a per capita basis are doing. Well, no, I'm just saying it's something that we need to compare apples to apples. If we're going to go into a contract and we're going to use South Pasadena as the 2020 contract with South Pasadena, we need to be reasonable as well and not set expectations that we're going to get all the services for 23,000. I think if we're going to reopen a negotiation, it needs to be good faith and it needs to be both ways. And if 23,000 is not the proper number, we need to come up with a number that works for staff and for the chamber.
So,
No one else has any questions.
oh yeah, it's important that I just say that some credit for our city staff. At least I got 2020 got elected. So a lot of the previous don't have any contract, and the city manager Mark, the leadership, it's have a lot of the previous don't have any contract, even previous don't have any resolution. So and we bring under our city council and make a decision. So for the future, like have the transparency in the contract and plus some even operation for the, like, for example, for our commissioner too. So before we don't have any resolution, if a commissioner not show up the meeting, okay.
I'm sorry, yes.
Yeah. So it's a lot of good things to moving on for the city to smoothly to for the city staff to have even they for them they have some recommendation or whatever resolution they can follow. Yeah. So personally, I supported the Chamber of Commerce to continue to have if they have our community to help the business, actually help the resident, but also it's very important for the transparency, accountability to let the community know that too. Yeah, that's my comments. So I can make a motion too.
So I'll move again. I like to move the first option, which is the city would purchase a city membership for $23,000, but with an agreement that includes a scope of work and list of deliverables. And if we need we'll sit down and go back and forth, but there has to be accountability. So I will propose, that's my, hopefully I made it clear, my motion. So I need a second.
So you're motioning for option one? Yes. I would make an amendment to that the value not be set, that we actually do enter into good faith, because that was a membership, it wasn't a contract offer, so.
I will amend my motion to say that we enter into an agreement without a dollar amount.
Negotiation without a dollar amount.
Well, okay.
Agreement should have a
Let's try it
dollar
again.
amount.
My motion is that we bring both parties together, enter into an agreement that includes a scope of work and list of deliverables. And this would be a future item, city council meeting item, so we can discuss further.
So that's kind of a blend of 1 and 4.
1 and 4. Let me go to 4.
Other options not listed above.
Well, yes. Okay, fine.
The motion is properly stated. I just want to make sure that we're not just limiting it to 1, so staff has clarity.
Yeah,
It is a
well, let's
negotiation.
ask Mark. Is that clear, Mark?
It is to me, but just for the record, what we're going to do is sit down with the chamber. We're going to talk about deliverables and a scope of work and bring that back at a future meeting with council. At that meeting, we'll have, what I would suggest is having also a membership level with the list of deliverables and have all of that in one agreement, in one staff report, so council can decide where to go from there. But we'll work collaboratively with the chamber on that.
Great, thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, motion by Councilmember Menchaca, second by Vice Mayor Wu. Please vote.
Motion passes by a vote of 5-0.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Mr. Mayor, I have no public comment cards for the second public comment section.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to address council on any topic? Seeing none, I'll close second public comment. City Manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll make it very brief. I do want to echo Andrew from Chevron, your comments. You kind of stole my thunder, but I do want to thank our interim chief Nakamura for doing such a phenomenal job during the last several months. We didn't skip a beat, and Ricky was there for everything that the city needed, dealt with some very difficult situations, and so Ricky, on behalf of the staff and myself personally, thank you so much for the incredible work that you did in the interim.
Thank you. Next is council comments and conference meeting reports. Who would like to start?
Okay, I'll start. First of all, I also wanted to thank Captain Ricky Nakamura. He is staying. It felt like you were leaving. But he is staying. He's not going anywhere. He's going to resume his previous post as captain. Chief, you can't have a better captain than Captain Nakamura. He really cares for this city, and he did so much during that time. And I know he is looking forward to working with you, Chief. So very excited about the future of our police department. I wanted to bring up again, I had mentioned previously, without getting any support here, but hopefully I can get it this time, about discussing how we can help our homeless population, or just discuss about social services. What do we do as a city? And one of the reasons I'm bringing that up is that recently, only council got it from LACSTA, I forget what it's called, LA County Homeless Group. They gave us our count. They've chosen not to make that public for any city. But we, as council, got the information, and we have a count of 31, which is significantly higher than the day I started here on the dais, 2017, where I think it was single digit. I think it was 7. And so it's impacting our city. I'm getting more phone calls about the homeless. Some people are on streets. I've seen them in their cars as I'm walking. I've seen them in businesses. And so I think it's worth the conversation. I had mentioned during budget session, maybe setting some monies aside, 20,000, something. But again, I think this is probably an item that we really can't set a dollar amount, but I think we need to have a discussion. What do we do? What can we do to start addressing our homeless population? Because right now, all we have is our police. They have the Met team doing a great job, but our numbers are growing, And, what are we doing? So can I have support from 2 more council members to put this in a future item?
So I would say that I believe this is something that I would support, that I think the city should get involved with. And I think the first contact really, no offense to the police, but shouldn't be the police. We really should have someone dedicated to making contact, because I've done the same. I walk all the time, and I've seen more and more homeless. And I always report it to the police, because that's all we have. Say, hey, can you send the Met team here or send the Met team there, because this person looks like they really need help. I would like to be able to say, can we send this social worker or this person that's dedicated to that? I think
We agree, Mayor.
we agree on a lot.
We agree, yes.
I'll stamp that.
Okay, so, I don't stand.
No, but I really think it's something that
Thank you.
is.
Thank you for your support.
That is a service that we should be providing for the community and the homeless individuals.
I agree, but we need to have a discussion. Could I have one more, Council?
Well, I can add it I'll just add that to the agenda. I'll tell staff. How's that? We don't need 3.
Well, no,
Mayor can do it.
I'd like to get the rest of the council members to support. Why even have an agenda item if we can't get support?
I see 3.
Yes, for the record.
We agree to add an agenda item.
That's all I need. Thank you.
Staff will be very creative in their funding.
I'm done with my council comment.
Right. Who else has comments? Councilmember Chan.
Okay, just try to keep this quick. I would also like to thank Interim Chief Nakamura for a great job he's been doing so far, and also to welcome our full-time Chief Elizalde. Welcome to San Gabriel. Thank you. Sure you'll do some great work here. A couple other things. On August 23rd, San Gabriel had their Employees Appreciation Slushy event, which I attended, and it was at the Mission Playhouse, and it was a great little way to break up the day. And I just want to thank all the San Gabriel staff for all your hard work. So that's the first thing. Also, later on that day, same day, on the 23rd, I attended a required ethics training event. The presentation was very well done by our council, his colleague, Martin. So that went well. And let's see, the last thing I had is that at one of our previous meetings, we had a discussion on sister cities. And I recently saw in the news that back in 2012 and 2013, there was a town of Dull in Scotland, then a town of Boring in Oregon, and the town of Bland in Australia. And they all became sister cities. They called themselves the Trinity of Tedium. So, yeah, that's my comedy for the night. All right. That's all I have. Thank you.
Councilmember Ding.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I echo my colleagues say our intern chief, Rick Nakamura, it's these 8 months to really responsible for our community. I agree that Andrew said that too, right? Okay, and anything happen, he really like a quick response. Thank you to during these 8 months, do a wonderful job for our community. So yeah, even my Chinese community is recognize you too every time they mention. Okay, and also welcome our new chief. Okay, so we are first Hispanic the chief, right? Yeah. Okay, it's a great. Our city is a very diversity and a multicultural too. Yeah. Thank you, both of you. And I have a couple the event. Okay, I have chance to attend the Kawani Club. It's good tour. We visit our mission church. It's a great education to, yeah. I suggest community, if we have a chance to visit them. It's a lot of history regarding our city of San Gabriel. And I also have a chance to attend our city, have the staff from our city, the Hero Christian Health Center. They opened a new facility in our neighborhood city. It's El Monte. It's really pretty good. They spent almost 20 years. They achieved their goal. Right now, it's good facility. I suggest our city of San Gabriel. You have the resident not just for their current facility, maybe too small. So go to the El Monte facility, just cross street to the, if you apply the county Medicare office. So they say if you need a Chinese translation, the Medicare office, they go to the cross street, they can provide it too. Yeah, so yeah, that's pretty good too. And another thing is, I just go to the Carlsbad. It's regarding the CJPIA, the insurance. I glad our HR at Manger and our city clerk Sharon and Marin. It's attended this. It's great. The conference, they have provided a lot of information. Even some, I remember Thursday, whole day, they simultaneously have every 2 hours have 5 different sections talking about it. The wellness, especially wellness, because this our city joined the self-insured insurance. So we cannot avoid the suit, but we can reduce this lawsuit. So I really talk to the HR, so we can asking the JPIA, they can provide this kind of seminar for our city to wellness education, for outdoors. So maybe for your department, maybe review it. Some insurance update or a regulation update, because maybe the previous it's too old. Since things happen, it's too late to protect the city. And also have the good section regarding our police department. So especially they talking about the pursue the policy. So how can not just a pursue policy, they have the rest of the policy. How can we make the good policy to we can enforce the law, but also reduce the risk for some innocent resident. So yeah, that's a lot of the good information. So, and also talking about if city staff, how they community, that's PIO, right? How to the community with the median. So it's because the city staff, not just staff only, but also if anything happen, it's the city will be liable, especially for I think that they mentioned commissioner is part of if they don't gotta pay, but they also have something if not really do the proper way, so have the cause the city problem, especially for the senior youth commissioner. So it's very carefully. We need a wellness, this kind of education. So it's this 3 days event, so it's really help. I think the other staff you attended will be agree too, right? So it's really helpful. So I suggest Mark and Ed to contact the JPIA and provide maybe even annually some education seminar for all the city staff. Hopefully, if we do the wellness prevent the future happens. If we have the lawsuit, it's a city where it's a waste of money, right? maybe this money we can, if we reduce it, we can do the paving, we could do a lot of things to help. Okay, yeah, thank you, that's my comments, yeah.
Thank you, Councilmember Ding. Vice Mayor Wu.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I would like to thank my colleagues, the city manager and the city staff that covered when I was absent from the last council meeting. I really appreciate that. And I would like to make a short report regarding when I was traveling overseas, and I had an opportunity to meet the district supervisor from Banqiao district. Very short meeting, but he invited me, the district supervisor, Mr. Chen, that he actually briefly, he did a presentation. Banqiao is a place that located in the new Taipei city in Taiwan, and that Banqiao district is just double large, like twice the size as St. Gabriel, but they have 550,000 population. I showed some of the photo to our city manager, and they have a very, they eager to be our friend in the future whenever we are ready. But I feel that they have a very strong motivation, and they have a strong, motivations on making friends with us. So they would like to do more cultural and educational exchange in the future. And so I would just, I told him just wait until we are ready for that. And the last thing is I would like to thank our Captain Nagamura. Well, thank you very much for your, in the past that you were acting chief, but I think that I have learned a lot from you, and you're very responsive, very productive, and helping our community, just keep our community safe. So, otsukare-sama deshita. Thank you very much. Arigato ne. And just, sugoshi, nihongo dekimasu.
You understand it?
Dekimasu. Jozu janai. Heda desu. So, those, and also I would like to welcome our new chief. I will need some time to practice your last name, but Chief Edward Elizalde? Elizalde?
Elizalde.
Yes.
Don't worry, I'll be the Chinese guy who teaches you Spanish.
Thank you.
You know what, Elizalde?
And I would love to learn.
I want to listen the chief how to pronounce his name. That's maybe the correct name.
Right. So I think that I look forward to work with you, and muchas gracias. Thank you.
So Vice Mayor Wu gets the language award for the night, as he always does. I'd also like to thank Ricky. I would just say, Ricky, we did a wonderful job. It's easy in that position to just be a placeholder. You were not just a placeholder, very proactive, moving us forward, and you truly were the chief. You can take the interim part out while we were searching for our permanent chief, but I really do appreciate the level of service and detail that you gave to the position, and all the accolades are well deserved, so we really do truly thank you. I don't think we missed a beat. In fact, I think we're still improving under your watch, so thank you. Chief Elizalde, welcome to the city. I can say I've been here quite a few years, and you have about the 5th hardest meeting as a first meeting, so I can go through some. This is a cakewalk. So just welcome, and I really look forward to your service, and I'm just glad we have someone with your quality and character on our leading our ladies and gentlemen of the police force. So thank you. I'd like to welcome Vice Mayor Wu back from his travels. So welcome back, and we're glad you made it back, and wish you good luck and health in the future.
Thank you, Mayor.
And lastly, the ICA installation, if whoever would like to attend, is September 28th. That's Independent Cities Association. Manhattan Beach Studios, outgoing President Nils Nilhelm, and incoming President Richard Montgomery. So if you're interested in attending, I'm sure you've all received an email, but it's open to the public too, so whoever would like to come, it's going to be a great event. With that, I will adjourn at 9:50 p.m.
Harrington, before you adjourn, I'm surprised none of you reminded us about our 9/11 celebration. I would like to extend my welcome to the chief, and Ramona Carter will be hosting a dinner on the 14th for first responders for 9/11.
Thank you.
But please, I encourage you all to come. This will be the first year that I will be missing it. I will be out of town, but I expect Denise Machado will be there, and I thank you.
Thank you, Mary. So we will be adjourning at 9:51 to September 19th, 2023 at 6:30 p.m.